Chapter 841. Chu Kuangren. Looking at the 3 words on the ground that spanned 100 miles, everyone could only feel an incomparably arrogant aura. Everyone's pupils shrank slightly as they memorized the name. After Chu Kuangren left his name, he turned and left. Chu Kuangren, I'll remember this name. This person will definitely be one of my biggest opponents in the immortal path. I'm not strong enough yet. That opportunity of fortune is about to appear. Not only the purple gold galaxy, but other galaxies will also be affected. There will be more immortal seeds in the future, so I can't slack off. When I return, I must train hard. There are countless opportunities of fortune in the vast universe. Before that great opportunity of fortune appears, I must quickly find other opportunities of fortune to improve my strength. The immortal seeds each had their own thoughts as they left one by one. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren leaped into the air and flew towards the firmament palace. He entered the palace. In front of Chu Kuangren was a white-haired old man. The old man had white hair and a beard. He sat on a futon in the palace, and his aura was ethereal as if he was one with the void. This person was the imaginary immortal of mortal sky. Greetings, Senior Mortal Sky. Chu Kuangren did not dare to be presumptuous in front of our imaginary immortal. He put away his arrogance and bowed as he analyzed the other's information. Even an imaginary immortal could not stop Xiao AI from analyzing. Soon, information about the imaginary immortal of mortal sky appeared. While Chu Kuangren was analyzing the other's information, the imaginary immortal was also observing him with a look of surprise. Unlike Chu Kuangren, the imaginary immortal of mortal sky did not have a cheat like the spirit of omniscience, so he could only rely on some cultivation techniques to observe. However, he still felt that there were many mysteries about Chu Kuangren that he could not see through. The more he looked, the more doubts he had. "You're welcome, little friend. Come, have a seat." The imaginary immortal of mortal sky simply stopped looking. With a wave of his sleeve, a futon appeared in front of him, and he gestured for Chu Kuangren to sit down. Chu Kuangren did not hesitate and sat in front of him. "Where did you come from, little friend?" "Firmament Star." "Firmament Star. I remember it. It seems to be at the edge of the purple gold galaxy, and it's currently at war with the blood source star." The imaginary immortal of mortal sky had traveled the entire galaxy before, so he had some recollection of the firmament star. It's already over." Chu Kuangren laughed. The firmament star is also an advanced cultivation civilization, but it's still a distance away from being an immortal cultivation civilization. "I didn't expect someone like you to appear here. What a surprise." The void immortal mortal heaven sighed. The two of them talked for a while. Following that, the dust heaven illusionary immortal asked Chu Kuangren about formation techniques. Both of them were experts in the Tao of formations. After a short exchange, they vaguely felt a sense of appreciation for each other. Especially the hollow immortal Chen Tian. He vaguely felt that the hollow immortal Chen Tian's attainment in the Tao of formations was much higher than his. "By the way, young friend Chu, what do you think of this Tao artifact?" Mortal Sky Void Immortal asked. Chu Kuangren glanced at the gorgeous white robe on his body and chuckled. "Very good. To be able to combine the purple gold and the peaceful sky white sand so perfectly, knead them into thin threads, and weave them into clothes, what a good technique." Hearing this, the virtual immortal of mortal heaven was shocked. "Little friend Chu, you also know how to forge tools?" "A little." Chu Kuangren laughed. In that case, I'll have to ask for some advice from you." Then, the two of them began to discuss the craft of equipment. During this process, the virtual immortal of mortal heaven even brought Chu Kuangren to his specialized equipment crafting place to let him practice. When he saw Chu Kuangren's equipment crafting method, his eyes widened like a bell. "A little? This is more like 100 million points." Just like that, Chu Kuangren was treated as a VIP by the virtual immortal of mortal heaven. The two of them often gathered together to discuss formation techniques and equipment crafting. Chu Kuangren would also occasionally discuss with him. As a hollow immortal, the virtual immortal of mortal heaven's cultivation was extremely high. Discussing with him was very beneficial to Chu Kuangren. On this day, Chu Kuangren saw the virtual immortal of mortal heaven reading a book. He went over to take a look. It was a book that recorded runes. "Oh, Senior Mortal Heaven, are you studying runes?" "Yes." The virtual immortal of mortal heaven nodded. "I've reached the peak of this galaxy in terms of equipment crafting and formation techniques, so I plan to study runes." "Runes? If you don't mind, I'd like to take a look at this book. I wonder if you'll let me borrow it after you're done." Chu Kuangren said. He also wanted to see the runic Tao of other civilizations. It might be helpful for the development of Firmament Star. "Oh, Brother Chu, you know about runes?" "A little." Chu Kuangren smiled. With a lift of his arm, the Divine Nine Dragons talisman was activated. Huge colorful runes covered half of the sky above mortal heaven star. The 9 dragon-shaped runes were surrounded by spiritual chi, and their domineering aura shook the heavens and earth. The virtual immortal of mortal heaven's mouth twitched. Just by looking at the power of those runes, one could tell that they were not simple. Moreover, he could not understand the runes that were contained within them. Knowing a little. "You know everything. What's wrong with your brain?" The virtual immortal of mortal heaven did not know what to say. Then his eyes lit up. "I've been studying runes recently. Since Brother Chu knows about runes, I wonder if you could give me a pointer or two." The virtual immortal of mortal heaven did not put on airs at all. Instead, he looked like he was humbly asking for advice. Since Chu Kuangren also wanted to use this opportunity to study the runes of other civilizations, he naturally did not refuse. Time passed. Chu Kuangren stayed on mortal heaven star for half a year. In that half a year, he spent time with the virtual immortal of mortal heaven, studying the runes of equipment refinement formations and discussing Taoism. Divine Nine Dragons transformation, appear. Chu Kuangren activated the runes. As the 9 dragon-shaped chi entered his body, his aura began to rise, and he vaguely reached the realm of a great Taoist master. Beside him, the virtual immortal of mortal heaven was amazed. This Taoist talisman is enough to make 99% of the talisman experts in the purple gold galaxy feel ashamed. In the past half a year, Chu Kuangren had used his strong learning ability to integrate the ancient rune books that the virtual immortal of mortal heaven had collected. He also perfected the Divine Nine Dragons transformation talisman, making it more powerful than before. Disperse. Chu Kuangren dispersed the effects of the Divine Nine Dragons transformation talisman. Then, he turned to the virtual immortal of mortal heaven who was not far away and said, "Senior, I've been chatting for half a year. It's about time for me to leave." The virtual immortal of mortal heaven stopped in his tracks and nodded slightly. "I know I can't make you stay. Here's something, take it." He took out a green jade token. The words, "Mortal Heaven," were engraved on the jade token. "I've given out countless Taoist weapons in my life, and many people owe me favors. If you carry this Mortal Heaven jade token with you, people will know that you and I are close. Those who owe me favors will also help you when the time is right," the virtual immortal of mortal heaven said. "This is too valuable," Chu Kuangren said solemnly. This Mortal Heaven jade token meant that the network that the virtual immortal of mortal heaven had spent countless years to weave would be at his service. He would have an incomparably powerful force out of thin air. With this force, even the immortal civilization would not dare to touch him. "No, you deserve this," the virtual immortal of mortal heaven said solemnly. "All these years, I've been making friends with sky prides, all for the sake of finding someone who can become an immortal in the future, and you may very well be that person." Chapter 842. An illusory immortal, an illusory immortal. They could see the glory of the immortal Tao, but they could never step into it. This was a great sorrow. Some people led a befuddled life, passing their days in misery. Some people were not willing to give up and went into seclusion in an attempt to become immortals. There were also people who fell into madness, living a life worse than death. As for the hollow immortal of the mortal sky realm, he focused his energy on other things, such as setting up formations and forging artifacts. He used this to distract himself from the sadness of not being able to become an immortal. He understood. Since he couldn't become an immortal himself, he would help others to become immortals and befriend future immortals. That might not be a bad choice. In fact, there was even a kind of anticipation in his heart. Perhaps after others become immortals, they could help him become immortals? Of course, this possibility was so minuscule that it could be ignored. Young friend Chu, you are only a few decades old, but your potential is almost unimaginable. Even the immortal seeds cultivated by the purple star, Venus, and those ancient orthodoxies are inferior to you. You have a high chance of becoming an immortal. Take this heavenly dust jade medallion. Consider it as me giving you a helping hand. I hope you can prove your Tao and become an immortal soon. Upon hearing the illusionary immortal dust sky's words, Chu Kuangren pondered for a while before he solemnly accepted the jade token and hung it on his waist. If I become an immortal in the future, I will repay you. Chu Kuangren promised. The void immortal mortal heaven laughed. All right, I'll be waiting. Boom, boom. At that moment, a strange energy fluctuation came from afar. Chu Kuangren and the dust heaven illusionary immortals sensed it and looked into the depths of the universe. This fluctuation, could it be that some sort of fortuitous encounter has appeared? Could it be? The void immortal of the mortal heaven void immortal's mind moved. His monarch will surged out and converged with the others in the boundless universe. He soon discovered the source of the energy fluctuations. So it's just the appearance of an ancient inheritance star. I had thought that it was the appearance of a ruined immortal world. Chen Tian Void Immortal said, Ancient star of inheritance? Broken immortal world? Chu Kuangren's eyes were filled with curiosity. Hollow immortal Chen Tian saw this and smiled. This is what I was going to tell you. It is closely related to your ascension. Upon hearing that, Chu Kuangren's expression turned serious. Young friend, have you ever heard of the immortal realm? The immortal realm? Chu Kuangren pondered. Yes, according to legend, a long time ago, there was a world in the universe where immortals lived, and that was the immortal dimension. Later, because of a great war, the celestial world was shattered into countless fragments. Those fragments became known as the broken celestial world. A few years ago, a mighty figure who was good at divination once predicted that a fragmented immortal realm would appear near the purple gold galaxy in the near future. It is very likely that there is a chance of becoming an immortal in there. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up when he heard that. It was extremely difficult to become an immortal. The two great civilizations of the purple gold galaxy had nurtured so many immortal seeds, but not a single one had succeeded in becoming an immortal. If he had the help of a fortuitous encounter, his chances would greatly increase. That energy fluctuation just now that's not the appearance of the broken immortal world. It's an ancient legacy planet. Ancient legacy planets are places of legacy left behind by ancient experts. There are all sorts of opportunities inside. Although they can't compare to the broken immortal world, they are still extremely rare. The appearance of this ancient legacy planet will attract many cultivators. Even the immortal seed will appear. You can go take a look. Mortal Sky Void Immortal said. Chu Kuangren nodded. I will be there. After that he left the dusty sky planet. Looking at Chu Kuangren's back as he left, Mortal Sky Void Immortal's eyes were filled with anticipation. Junior Chu, I look forward to your future. The news of the ancient legacy planet's appearance spread throughout the entire purple gold galaxy. Many cultivators were alerted by the news. In the universe, a purplish-red planet floated in the air, surrounded by red mist. Battleships arrived from all directions. Countless cultivators looked at the purplish-red planet with fiery eyes, eager to give it a try. These people came from various forces in the purple gold galaxy. If I'm not mistaken, this is the purple blood planet, the former residence of the purplish-red illusory immortal, an old man said. The purplish-red illusory immortal was also one of the famous illusory immortals in the purple gold galaxy. However, rumor has it that he went to other galaxies in search of a way to become an immortal. I didn't expect him to leave behind an ancient legacy planet. It's a blessing for the younger generation. Another Taoist master said. It's only an illusory immortal's ancient legacy planet. There's no need for us to join in. Let our respective sky prides go in. That's fine. Let's just treat it as a preview of the broken immortal world's appearance. We can also take this opportunity to see which sky prides have appeared recently. When sky prides fight, life and death will depend on their own abilities. The top powerhouses of the various forces made an agreement. On a battleship, a cold-looking young man with 3 long swords on his back looked at the purple blood planet and said indifferently, "The illusory immortal's inheritance might contain many good things. The broken immortal world's appearance is imminent. Let's use this opportunity to polish our sword wills." He slowly stood up, and a shocking sword pressure erupted. Within this sword pressure, there were actually 3 different sword wills. They were as hot as the sun, cold as the moon, and bright as the stars. On the other side, in the purple star civilization's camp, a white-robed man stood in midair. As he breathed, the surrounding starlight was absorbed into his body. His entire body emanated a majestic pressure. The man looked at the purple blood planet with an eager gaze. "I must obtain the illusory immortal's inheritance." Next to him, an old man glanced at him and praised, "Your Highness, your 7-star god technique has been cultivated to the 6th level. In the entire purple gold galaxy, other than a few deity seeds, no one can be compared to you. This illusory immortal's inheritance will definitely be yours." Of course, the white-robed man smiled confidently and flew toward the purple blood planet. In space, a woman with a curvaceous figure and exquisite features in a blue Taoist robe sat cross-legged. Her body was glowing with a pale blue light. The illusory immortal's inheritance has attracted many people. I wonder how many among them can make me go all out? The woman stood up. A pale blue light engulfed the area. A small planet near her exploded on the spot and turned into cosmic dust. Various sky prides flew toward the purple blood planet to fight for the inheritance. A battle of the universe's sky prides was about to begin. Surrounded by battleships, a white stream of light also flew toward the purple blood planet. Everyone focused their eyes. That person was dressed in a luxurious white robe with a beautiful white jade sword hanging at his waist. He was so handsome that no one in the entire galaxy could match him. Who is this person? An unfamiliar sky pride. What a familiar face. I think he's the one who single-handedly fought against the deity seeds in the ancient Dusty Skies star half a year ago. It's him. Everyone could not help but be surprised. Should we stop this person from entering? One of the Taoist masters said. Chu Kuangren's arrival would definitely threaten the other deity seeds, and that was not something that everyone was happy to see. Wait, look at his waist. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. They saw a green jade token hanging from Chu Kuangren's waist. On it were the words, "Dusty Sky," and a faint illusory immortal's power surrounded it. The Dusty Sky jade token. This person belongs to the Dusty Sky illusionary immortal. Seeing the jade token is like seeing the illusory immortal. What's his relationship with the Dusty Sky illusionary immortal? Let him enter. He's alone, so he might not be a threat to the deity seeds. It's best not to offend the Dusty Sky illusionary immortal. Chapter 843. The pseudo-immortal was still a huge deterrent in a galaxy. At least, even immortal civilizations like Purple Star and Venus did not have many pseudo-immortals. More importantly, the mortal sky pseudo-immortal was no ordinary pseudo-immortal. He was an expert in both techniques and formations, and he had received countless favors from others. That was a force that should not be underestimated. Chu Kuangren was protected by the Dusty Sky Jade token, so the civilizations outside of Purple Blood Planet would not dare to attack him. Inside Purple Blood Planet, this place was not much different from other planets. The only difference was that this planet was protected by a pseudo-immortal's power. That made Purple Blood Planet very difficult to destroy. Only a few masters of the Tao of Heaven could achieve such a feat. Treasure locating skill, activate. Upon arriving at Purple Blood Planet, Chu Kuangren immediately activated his treasure locating skill. Messages of various treasures were sent to him. At his level, ordinary treasures were no longer of much use to him. Only some Taoist treasures would be useful to him. Chu Kuangren used his treasure locating skill to search Purple Blood Planet for 3 days. Along the way, he found many high-level Taoist medicines. He even found 2 Taoist weapons. He immediately threw them into his yin and yang ring. This yin and yang ring was extremely spacious. Since it was reforged by him, it was not any weaker than the previous one. In those 3 days, he also met some sky prides and other cultivators. Unfortunately, they posed no threat to him at all. Boom! On this day, Chu Kuangren had just finished harvesting a Taoist medicine. Suddenly, there was a violent energy disturbance nearby. The ground shook as if something was approaching him. This disturbance. Chu Kuangren looked towards the source of the noise. He saw a huge black ape approaching him. A beast. Chu Kuangren was slightly surprised. The black ape was hundreds of meters tall, like a mountain. As it ran, the ground shook and the ferocious qi surged. However, the ape had suffered many injuries. Its body was drenched in blood, and it was still holding a golden crystal in its hand. Behind it, a group of human cultivators was chasing after it. That's a Taoist source. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. If crystals such as spirit marrows and spirit crystals were used to increase one's cultivation level, then a Taoist source was used to increase one's understanding of the Tao. Chu Kuangren could clearly feel that the Taoist source in the black ape's hand was about 10 feet tall and weighed at least 1,000 kilograms. Moreover, the qi of the Tao contained within it was extremely dense. Countless mysterious golden Tao patterns appeared on its surface. Get out of my way! The black ape noticed that Chu Kuangren was standing in his path, so he roared and threw a punch at him. A terrifying demonic aura gushed out like a mountain torrent. Little monkey, your path is too narrow. Chu Kuangren let out a light snort, and a cold ray of light shot out from his eyes. He didn't seem to do anything, but he gently raised his hand. Bang! One was huge, one was small. The 2 fists collided. A fierce gust of wind swept through the surroundings. Immediately after, the black ape's arm exploded inch by inch. Its flesh and bones exploded on the spot, and its entire arm was blasted into a rain of blood. Ah! With a scream, the black ape stumbled a few steps back. Its gigantic body fell to the ground like a mountain as it stared at Chu Kuangren in horror. Even a peak Empyrean would not be able to withstand a single punch from him. But this person in front of him could easily shatter his arm. Tao Lord. This person in front of him was definitely a Taoist master. The black ape's face was filled with horror as he quickly handed the Taoist essence in his hand to Chu Kuangren. The Taoist essence is yours. Please spare my life. He knelt on the ground and trembled. This Taoist essence is ours. At that moment, the group of human cultivators who had chased after the ape had also arrived at the scene. They looked at Chu Kuangren with cold eyes. Oh, your names are written on it? Chu Kuangren sat on the Taoist essence and looked at the group of cultivators before him playfully. Hand over the Taoist essence, and the Purple Star sect will pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, bear the consequences. The leader of the human cultivators said coldly. Chu Kuangren became even more playful when he heard that. It was the Purple Star sect again. If you want it, why don't you give it a try? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Senior brother, why waste your breath on him? Watch me slaughter him. A muscular man smiled cruelly and flew towards Chu Kuangren. With a punch, a black gust of wind swept out. A grain of sand in the Ganges River, a scale in the vast ocean. You're so small, yet you don't know it. Chu Kuangren's gaze was cold as he said softly. Chu Kuangren stood still as a purple sword ray shot out from his fingertips. A mist of blood exploded in the air. The sword ray tore through the gust of wind and sliced the muscular man in half. The crowd could not help but gulp when they saw that. Terrifying. Although that muscular man's cultivation level was not the strongest among them, he was still an upper heavenly honorable. Yet he was killed so easily. They looked at the trembling black ape who was kneeling on the ground. The ape had lost an arm and was bleeding profusely. Taoist Master. That was the name that popped into everyone's mind. That young man in white was the Taoist master. Let's go. The leader of the human cultivators left without another word. They had no chance of winning against a Taoist master. All of you, go and find some fun for me. Chu Kuangren looked at his retreating figure and did not attack. Killing a few ants was nothing to him. He hoped that these ants could bring him some fun. For example, the purple star immortal seeds. Master, can I leave now? The black ape knelt on the ground and asked in a trembling voice. Chu Kuangren waved his hand. Get lost. Thank you, master. Thank you. The black ape was overjoyed and quickly kowtowed. When he lowered his head, a hint of hatred flashed across his eyes. He thought that he had hidden it well. However, it did not escape Chu Kuangren's eyes. Perhaps you can bring me some fun too. Chu Kuangren looked at the black ape and smiled. However, the ape did not understand. He did not dare to stay any longer and quickly crawled away, afraid that Chu Kuangren would change his mind. Human, just you wait. The Black Gale ape tribe has never suffered such humiliation. Wait till I return and report this to the young master. He'll teach you a lesson. This Taoist source is not bad. I'll absorb it now. Chu Kuangren thought and began to refine the Taoist source. With the universal cauldron physique, Chu Kuangren's efficiency in absorbing and refining resources was very fast. In less than half a day, the 1,000-kilogram Taoist source that would normally take a Taoist master a year and a half was completely refined by him. Then, his emperor's thought surged as he continued to search for opportunities of fortune. Originally, it would be easy for his emperor's thought to cover the entire purple blood planet. However, due to the influence of his pseudo-immortal power, his emperor's thought could only cover a few 100,000 kilometers at most. Another 2 days passed. On this day, the originally peaceful purple blood planet suddenly erupted with a powerful energy wave. A purple-red beam of light shot into the sky. Everyone on the purple blood planet saw that beam of light. And within that beam of light were countless treasures. That was right. There were treasures within that beam of light. It was not just one or two, but a whole bunch of them. Taoist supreme elixirs, Tao weapons, rare minerals, Taoist sources, and so on. The purple blood planet cultivators could not help but feel excited when they saw the beam of light. So many treasures. Quick, let's go to the beam of light. Everyone, let's hurry to the beam of light. We can't let anyone else get there first. At that moment, the cultivators on the purple blood planet were like a pack of hungry wolves that had spotted a fat sheep. Everyone rushed to the beam of light. Chapter 844. The light pillar shot into the sky and the treasures circled around. And beneath the pillar of light was a magnificent palace. Written on the palace was, Violet Blood Tao Palace. These treasures came from the eruption. When the cultivators arrived and saw this scene, they couldn't help but be shocked. Wow, all these treasures actually came from this holy Ji palace. What treasures are there in this holy Ji palace? This is definitely the greatest opportunity left behind by the purple blood virtual immortal. It must be. Let's go in and take a look. However, just as some of the cultivators were about to move, 4 blood-red rays of light flew out from the Tao Palace and turned into 4 strange figures covered in blood-red robes and masks. After the 4 figures rushed out, they each held a blood-red longsword in their hands and killed the cultivators who attempted to approach the palace. Their attacks were merciless and overbearing. If you want to enter the palace, defeat the 4 blood guards first. An indifferent voice came from the Tao Palace. Is it the purple blood virtual immortal? No, the purple blood virtual immortal has already left the purple gold galaxy. This should just be a thought left behind by him. Everyone's expressions changed as they looked at the 4 blood guards with serious expressions. From the brief attack earlier, they could tell that the 4 blood guards were extremely powerful. A single blood guard was no weaker than an ordinary Tao master. Not to mention 4 blood guards. This test is not something we can pass. Let's focus on getting the treasures in the light pillar first. That's right. Everyone stopped thinking about the treasures in the Tao Palace and turned to look at the light pillar. However, at this moment, several streams of light flew over. These treasures are mine. No one is allowed to covet them. A domineering voice was heard. A man in a white robe flew over with starlight flowing around his body. Behind him were a few young cultivators with extraordinary auras. It's him. Purple Star Third Sequence. Zifeng. It's not just the third sequence. There's also the seventh sequence Zijingfeng, the eighth sequence Yunfan, the ninth sequence Zihan. The arrival of the Purple Star sequence made everyone feel pressured. Each sequence was equivalent to an immortal seed. A single immortal seed was enough to suppress everyone, let alone 4 sequences and a high-level immortal seed like the third sequence. In Purple Star, the higher one's rank was, the more tyrannical their strength and talent would be. The third rank was already the top immortal seed in the Purple Gold Galaxy. Even if he's Purple Star's third rank, it's too overbearing of him to take all the treasures for himself. That's because he's strong. Damn it, everyone was indignant. However, he was powerless against the pressure of a few immortal seeds. At this moment, a loud laugh came from the horizon. If you want the treasure, you'll have to ask me first. A man shrouded in golden light flew over. There were also a few golden lights behind him, and a domineering pressure swept across the entire area. It's the Venus sequence. Venus 3rd rank Jean Fei, 6th rank Jean Hua, 9th rank Jean Cruel, and 10th rank Jean Jenny. Someone recognized the newcomer. In the Purple Gold Star system, the 2 great immortal method civilizations' immortal seeds arrived, opposing each other with equal harshness. Boundless might contended against each other. Everyone present could not help but swallow their saliva. Before he could recover from his shock, several more immortal seeds arrived. A woman in a blue dress with a slender figure and a watery glow around her body swept out like a raging wave, slapping the void. The immortal seed of Weakwater Palace. Shui Qianhua. Someone recognized the woman. Then, a massive sword pressure erupted on the other side. A young man with 3 swords on his back and the sun, moon, and stars above his head slowly walked over. Next to the young man was another young man with an iron sword on his back. The Imperial Heaven Sword Sects Immortal Seed, Sword Triultimate. And Feng Feiyun. The only 2 immortal seeds of the Imperial Heaven Sword Sect are here too. At this moment, a long roar was heard. A gust of demonic chi turned into a black storm and swept over. In the distance, a black ape walked over. It's the Black-Wind Ape Tribe's immortal seed. The demonic tribe's immortal seed is here too. How can I not participate in the fight for treasures? The Black-Wind Ape immortal seed laughed out loud. As the immortal seeds arrived one by one, various different pressures shrouded the place, causing the cultivators present to tremble in fear. Oh my God, is this the battle of immortal seeds? This is terrifying. I haven't seen such a big scene in a long time. Everyone discussed. Meanwhile, the immortal seeds were also sizing each other up. Jean Fei, long time no see. Purple Star's sequence 3 Zifeng looked at Venus's sequence 3 Jean Fei and smiled faintly. Jean Fei grinned and said, "It's been a few hundred years since we last met. We didn't have a clear winner in our last battle, right? Why you want to fight now? I'll fight you to the end. This isn't the right time. We're in front of the treasure vault. If we fight and both of us are injured, wouldn't it benefit others?" That's true. Now, let's find a way to enter the Purple Blood Dao Palace. The immortal seeds looked at the 4 blood guards. Let me try first. Cruel Jean charged at the blood guards with a long staff in hand. As the 2 sides fought, majestic Emperor Qi raged in the surroundings. However, Cruel Jean was suppressed by the 4 blood guards in no time and was sent flying with blood spurting out of his mouth. So powerful! When these 4 blood guards join forces, their combat strength is comparable to a great Tao Lord. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect that even the immortal seeds could not pass this test. Even the sequence immortal seeds are no match for these 4 blood guards? Interesting. Let me try then, Zifeng said with a cold smile. Purple Star's sequence 3 made his move. He charged into the formation of the 4 blood guards. His strength was much stronger than cruel Jin's, and he was able to contend with the 4 blood guards. Galaxy Annihilation. Zifeng used his immortal technique, and a mighty galaxy that stretched for tens of thousands of miles swept out, instantly killing the 4 blood guards. Success. A Sequence 3's move is indeed extraordinary. After defeating the 4 blood guards, the Purple Blood Dao Palace's gate creaked open, and a voice came from the palace. You may enter. Zifeng had obtained the recognition of the purple-blooded virtual immortal. Zifeng smiled proudly and said to Ziyunfan and the others, I'll leave the treasures that leaked out of the palace to you. All right. Everyone nodded. After Zifeng entered the Doctrine Palace, another 4 blood guards flew out from within, and everyone couldn't help but be surprised when they saw this. There's an endless supply of blood guards? Looks like the others have to pass the test of the blood guards to enter the palace. Seeing Zifeng enter the Dao Palace, the rest of the immortal seeds could not hold back anymore. Those who thought they were strong stepped forward to challenge him. Soon, a few more people walked into the Dao Palace. They were Imperial Heavensword Palace's Sanju Sword, Venus's Sequence 3 Jin Fei, Rua Water Palace's Shui Qianhua, and Zifeng. As for the rest, they stayed outside the Dao Palace. Damn it! The Black Wind Ape Immortal Seed roared angrily and punched the ground. The ground exploded. He also wanted to enter the Dao Palace, but his strength was not enough to defeat the 4 blood guards, so he was blocked. This made him very unhappy. I thought that even if I can't compare to Purple Star and Venus Sequence 1 Immortal Seed, I should be more than enough to compete with the Sequence 2 Immortal Seeds. I didn't expect that even Sequence 3 Immortal Seeds can enter, but I can't. Damn it, damn it. The more the Black Wind Ape Immortal Seed thought about it, the more unwilling he became. Chapter 845. Outside the Purple Blood Taoist Palace. The immortal seeds were about to collect the treasures in the Light Pillar. As for the cultivators who were not immortal seeds, they could only watch helplessly. Although they were unwilling, there was nothing they could do. However, at that moment, a series of footsteps could be heard. Not far away, Chu Kuangren was walking towards them with his head held high. He looked at the treasures in the Light Pillar and did not say anything. With a lift of his arm, a mysterious fluctuation appeared, and countless treasures disappeared into the Light Pillar. Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Spatial fluctuations, it's a spatial technique. Look, it's that guy. The treasures that disappeared suddenly appeared in front of Chu Kuangren. He looked at everyone like they were nothing and collected the treasures one by one. That scene made everyone's pupils dilate. Especially Jin Jie, Ziyunfan, and Feng Feiyun. It's him. I can't believe he's here too. Jin Jie and the others looked serious. At that moment, a black gale ape with a broken arm suddenly shouted, Young master, he's the one who stole my Taoist origin. The black gale ape immortal seed looked at Chu Kuangren and said, First, you stole my Taoist origin, and now you stole the treasures in this Taoist palace right in front of me. It seems like you're tired of living. Chu Kuangren did not answer. He looked past the black gale ape and looked at the Purple Blood Taoist palace. It seems like there's a bigger opportunity of fortune waiting for me in this Taoist palace. He muttered to himself. He did not care about the black gale ape immortal seed at all. To be more precise, he did not care about everyone at the scene. B** starred. The black gale ape's expression turned grim. With a lift of its arm, a terrifying demonic chi erupted as it threw a punch at Chu Kuangren. The Taoist patterns and demonic chi turned into a black storm. Chu Kuangren focused his sword finger and slashed. A sword chi shot out and easily tore the black storm in half. The remaining sword chi continued to sweep out like a hot knife through butter. The black gale ape immortal seed's pupils shrunk. It roared and threw a punch, shattering the sword chi. It then looked at Chu Kuangren with a serious expression. You're also an immortal seed. Not far away, the Purple Star Sequence, Gold Star Sequence, and the others watched the battle with surprise in their eyes. He's the Chu Kuangren who defeated the group of immortal seeds half a year ago. This strength is indeed strong enough. A young man suddenly walked in front of the Purple Star echelons and said, Echelons, this is the person who took away the Tao essence that should have been ours. Moreover, Lu Rong also died at his hands. Hearing this, Zihan and Zi Jingfeng's eyes flashed a cold light. Bold, daring to kill my Purple Star's people. Both of them unleashed their auras, and their domineering auras locked onto Chu Kuangren. The other immortal seeds more or less wanted to make a move as well, other than wanting to witness the other party's strength. More importantly, Chu Kuangren had taken away all the treasures right in front of their eyes. How could they sit still after that? At that moment, Chu Kuangren was being targeted by everyone at the scene. That man is too arrogant. He took away all the treasures the moment he arrived. How could the others possibly accept that? Not bad. Everyone discussed animatedly, looking as if they were watching a good show. Chu Kuangren stood with his hands behind his back. Facing the crowd of immortal seeds, he said indifferently, "It seems that you guys are very dissatisfied with me." Everyone was speechless at his words. "Don't you know what you've done?" However, Chu Kuangren's next words immediately enraged them. "If that's the case, let's all attack together." His arrogant words directly challenged all the immortal seeds at the scene. Everyone's hearts shook, and they were dumbstruck. The immortal seeds, on the other hand, were enraged. "What the lunatic! I can't believe he's challenging all of us. Do you have what it takes?" Cruel Gold took a step forward and said coldly, "Chu Kuangren, get this straight. This isn't the Dusty Star anymore. The immortal seeds here are much stronger than before. Do you think you can still suppress us?" Chu Kuangren chuckled and said, "No matter when or where, I can defeat all of you with just a wave of my hand. You guys are too weak." Extreme provocation would trigger the most extreme conflict. The immortal seeds could not take it anymore. The Purple Star Echelon was the first to attack. His Emperor's chi surged, Taoist patterns intertwined in the void, and countless starlight energies smashed towards Chu Kuangren. Boom, boom, a series of explosions were heard. The ground was blasted open, and smoke and dust were everywhere. "That's all you got?" Zihan snorted. "Yeah, that's all you got." An indifferent voice came from within the smoke and dust. Then, a terrifying domineering aura swept in all directions. When the smoke and dust dissipated, an unscathed and tall white figure was revealed. Chu Kuangren lifted his hand and pointed a finger. 10,000 deity calamity fire lotus. Endless streams of flames converged. The golden red lotus shone brightly. Zihan's expression changed drastically as he felt a huge threat looming over him. He dared not let his guard down and immediately activated his immortal technique. Galactic Apocalypse. However, when the fire lotus landed on the galactic apocalypse, a large portion of it was ignited and turned into a sea of fire. A violent domineering aura swept toward Zihan. "This is not an ordinary flame. D** in it, this is the Phoenix Flame." Zihan was horrified when the galactic apocalypse exploded on the spot. The terrifying flames swept across and blasted him hundreds of feet away. One move, and the immortal seeds were defeated. This person is not someone we can fight alone. If we want to obtain the treasures on him, we must attack together. Zi Yunfan said loudly. Then he too activated his immortal technique. When the others saw that, they too made their moves with a serious expression. All sorts of powerful shockwaves instantly erupted. The immortal seeds each activated their strongest techniques to attack Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren stood still in the face of the overwhelming energy that was coming towards him. He combined his mind power and Emperor's Qi and unleashed the ultimate Tao and ultimate profoundness. With a single thought, all sounds shall be silenced, and the heavens and earth shall perish. Circles of light waves spread out. All of the energy that was charging towards Chu Kuangren was shattered by that terrifying light wave and was sent flying back. The group of immortal seeds bore the brunt of the attack and were blasted away. The light waves around Chu Kuangren retracted as he stood with his hands behind his back. His body was as steady as a mountain, his aura was as deep as the abyss, and his expression was as calm as an ancient well. Meanwhile, the people around him were dumbfounded. What did they just witness? One move. One move to blast a group of immortal seeds away. One move to defeat all the immortal seeds. They had heard that Chu Kuangren had defeated a group of immortal seeds half a year ago. At first, they thought that it was just an exaggeration. Perhaps it was just a rumor. However, now that they had witnessed that scene with their own eyes, they were shocked like never before. Not only were the rumors true, it was even more exaggerated. Chu Kuangren looked at the immortal seeds with a look of disappointment. Are all immortal seeds as insignificant as you all? No one knew how to answer this question at all. They were all immortal seeds, so when had they ever been insignificant? However, if they were not insignificant, why could they not even withstand a single move from Chu Kuangren? He's much stronger than half a year ago. Zi Yunfan looked at Chu Kuangren in shock. Half a year ago, Chu Kuangren had defeated them by using immortal techniques. Now, he could defeat them with just his profound mystery alone. Forget it. Who knows, there might be surprises in that Taoist palace. Chu Kuangren looked at the purple blood Taoist palace and walked towards it. Chapter 846. Chu Kuangren looked at the purple blood Taoist palace and walked towards it. However, at that moment, a whistling sound came from the side. A gigantic fist the size of a small mountain charged towards Chu Kuangren along with it. It was the Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed. Chu Kuangren raised his hand to block the attack, but his body did not move an inch. Meanwhile, the Black Gale Ape continued to swing its fists, unleashing attack after attack at Chu Kuangren like a black meteor shower. Although it could not enter the purple blood Taoist palace, its strength was still stronger than most of the immortal seeds present. Kid, don't be too arrogant. Have a taste of my power. The Black Gale Ape roared and leaped into the air. It crossed its fists and smashed them towards Chu Kuangren. Before the attack landed, the explosive force had already caused the ground around Chu Kuangren to crack open. When the fist landed on Chu Kuangren, the ground beneath his feet caved in and cracks spread out like a spider web. In the blink of an eye, the cracks covered a radius of 100 kilometers. However, the Black-Winged Ape Immortal Seed's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. It could feel an extremely surging power blocking its fist. I thought letting that Black Gale Ape go would bring me some fun, but I didn't expect it to be someone like you. An indifferent voice was heard. Under the Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed's fist, Chu Kuangren single-handedly blocked its attack with a cold expression. Then, an unimaginably terrifying force erupted from his slender body. He forcefully lifted the Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed's fist and pushed it away. The Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed took a few steps back in shock. How can this human's physical strength be this strong? It took a deep breath and channeled the demonic chi within its body to its limit. Divine ability, Black Gust Demonic Wind. The Black Gale Ape was one of the famous demon tribes in the Purple Gold Galaxy. The Black Gust Demonic Wind was their specialty. The demonic wind could wear down a cultivator's flesh and emperor's chi. It was extremely terrifying. Especially when the immortal seed used it, its power was even more terrifying. An endless gust of wind shot out from its body and swept towards Chu Kuangren. Even a minor Dao Lord would be ground into a bloody mist if he was caught by this storm, and even his soul wouldn't be able to escape. However, Chu Kuangren still stood his ground and did not move an inch, allowing the black tornado to engulf him. Countless black wind blades landed on his body, but they could not even cut through the robe he was wearing, let alone hurt his physical body. The gorgeous white robe flowed with Dao patterns and treasure lights, and the surrounding storms couldn't harm it at all. A defensive Dao artifact. It's a defensive heavenly Dao artifact forged by a void immortal mortal sky. Someone exclaimed. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, stood on the spot and let out a smile as he sensed the power of this defensive Taoist weapon. This Dao artifact was strong enough to defend against attacks from anyone below the Heavenly Law Master level. Even if it was the Heavenly Law Master's power, it would be able to neutralize most of it. Coupled with his terrifyingly strong physical body and immortal body, it was almost impossible for the Heavenly Law to kill him. I'll let you see what true power is. Chu Kuangren looked at the Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed and then raised his hand. He clenched his fist, and a terrifying domineering aura instantly erupted. The Starlight Immortal Physique's power erupted as Chu Kuangren threw out a punch. Majestic fist energy swept out, and the black tornado that surrounded Chu Kuangren was instantly shattered and dispersed. Wherever the fist landed, the ground cracked, and the mountains and rivers were crushed. Amidst the explosion, the power of the punch landed on the Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed's body, and a series of bone-cracking sounds that made everyone's scalp numb could be heard. The Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed was blasted away on the spot, and a huge amount of blood gushed out from its body like a rain of blood. It then landed on a mountain far away, shattering the entire mountain. When the crowd took a closer look, they saw that the Black Gale Ape Immortal Seed's gigantic body was almost completely destroyed. Its life force flowed out like water from a broken dam, and it soon disappeared completely. An immortal seed had fallen. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air at the sight of this. They looked at Chu Kuangren as if they were looking at a demonic god. He killed an immortal seed with just a lift of his hand. Chu Kuangren's combat strength was too terrifying. I'm afraid there aren't many immortal seeds in the entire Purple Gold Galaxy that can be compared to him. He's too powerful. I'm afraid that only the Purple Star and Golden Planet sequence ones can compete with him. Indeed. The crowd was amazed. Meanwhile, the Black Gale Ape Tribe cultivators looked at Chu Kuangren furiously as if they wanted to skin him alive. How dare you kill my tribe's immortal seed? The Black Gale Ape, whose arm was severed by Chu Kuangren earlier, said angrily. Immortal seeds. They were top-notch sky prides that were nurtured by a force. They were existences that had the potential to become immortals, and they were extremely rare. Even if our immortal seed could not become an immortal in the future, as long as they continued to grow, they would definitely become the backbone of a force. But now, Chu Kuangren had broken their pillar of support right in front of the Black Gale Ape. So what if I killed it? Chu Kuangren took a step forward and stood in front of the one-armed Black Gale Ape. He said indifferently, "What can you do if I kill you now?" As soon as he said that, he raised his hand and threw a punch. The earth-shattering punch descended from the sky and landed on the Black Gale Ape's body, exploding it into a cloud of blood mist. What does destroying you have to do with you? The sky was filled with a rain of blood that tainted the ground. Amidst the rain of blood, Chu Kuangren's gorgeous white robe was still spotless, making him look even more superior. The crowd gulped as they were shocked. The group of immortal seeds looked at each other and saw the horror in each other's eyes. Such a freak has appeared in the Purple Gold Galaxy. Where did he come from? After killing the Black Gale Ape, Chu Kuangren did not stop. He walked towards the Purple Blood Palace and was intercepted by 4 blood guards. The crowd could not help but watch with rapt attention. The 4 blood guards were so powerful that ordinary immortal seeds could not even pass their test. Through the blood guards, they might be able to see Chu Kuangren's true strength. The 4 blood guards rushed forward and attacked Chu Kuangren. The 4 of them joined forces and interweaved into an impenetrable blood-red killing net. Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed when he saw that. How dare a mere puppet block my way? With that thought, tens of thousands of spiritual chi blades gathered and rained down like a storm. With a loud bang, the 4 blood guards were blasted into pieces. One move and the blood guards were destroyed. Compared to the few immortal seeds who passed the blood guards test, it was easier. What did that mean? It meant that Chu Kuangren's strength was above them. Looks like Zifeng, Sanja Swordsman, Shui Qianhua, and Jin Fei are going to have a great enemy. That's right. I'm really curious to see who will get the opportunity of fortune in this Taoist palace. Even if Chu Kuangren gets the opportunity of fortune, there are a few powerhouses from the major forces around the Purple Blood Star. Can he really leave unscathed? Unless he has a powerful force behind him. But in the Purple Gold Galaxy, which civilization or orthodoxy can compare to the Purple Star and Venus? The crowd watched Chu Kuangren step into the Taoist palace and discussed. Chapter 847. Within the Violet Blood Dao Palace. Shui Qianhua, Zhen Sanju, Jin Fei, and Zifeng sat on a praying mat, each with their brows tightly knitted, as though they were enduring something. In the sky above them, there was a prismatic crystal floating. Chu Kuangren arrived at this place. Looking at the 4 immortal seeds in front of him, he was a little shocked. What are those 4 doing? Then, he looked up at the prismatic crystal with a strange look in his eyes. Xiao, AI, analyze this thing for me. Just as Xiao AI was analyzing, a voice suddenly rang out from the prismatic crystal, "Welcome, young genius." A futon appeared in front of Chu Kuangren. "You're a purple blood void immortal?" "Yes, it's just a will. As for the main body, it has long since left to travel the universe in search of the method to become an immortal." "What are they doing?" "They are currently undergoing the final test. If they can pass, they will be able to obtain the legacy that I have left in the Violet Blood Dao Palace." "You are here for my legacy, right? Then, let's begin the test," the purple-blooded void immortal said with a faint smile. "Analysis complete." Xiao AI's voice rang out. Then, more and more information regarding the prismatic crystal appeared in Chu Kuangren's mind. A strange look flashed across Chu Kuangren's eyes, and a playful look flashed across his face. "I'll play with you then." He stepped forward and sat on the praying mat. The purple-blooded illusory immortal was a little surprised. After all, he was the master of this place and an illusory immortal. Even the other sky prides treated him with respect when they entered, yet Chu Kuangren's attitude towards him was playful? Young prodigy, full of arrogance. The purple-blooded void immortal said indifferently. "If I'm not proud, can I still be called a young genius? Also, it depends on who I'm arrogant towards and how I'm arrogant towards." Chu Kuangren laughed. The purple-blood void immortal fell silent for a moment. He realized that the person in front of him was somewhat different from the others. Could it be that the other party had seen through him? Impossible. How could he know that his plan was perfect? He must be thinking too much. The purple-blooded void immortal stopped thinking about it and continued. "Now, insert your monarch intent into this prismatic crystal, and you can begin the trial." Chu Kuangren did as he was told. Sovereign will surged out. Following this, he felt a strong suction force coming from the prismatic crystal, which followed his monarch will and pulled his soul. "Don't resist, or your soul will be heavily injured." The purple-blooded void immortal's voice sounded. Subsequently, Chu Kuangren's soul was sucked into an unknown entity. There was an arena in the void in front of him. 2 people were currently sparring in the arena. These 2 people were Jin Fei and Zifeng. Below the stage, Shui Qianhua and Jian Sanju were watching the battle. What was worth noting was that Jin Fei and Zifeng were both in soul form, but they could use their own daos and techniques. It looked as if they were fighting with their real bodies, which was extremely peculiar. Without an incomparably powerful soul force, it would be impossible to do this. Logically speaking, even though these 2 were immortal seeds, they did not cultivate the Tao of the soul, so it should be impossible for them to do this. It's because of that prismatic crystal. This place is the internal space of that prismatic crystal. It's here that our souls can move like our true bodies. We can even fight. Chu Kuangren muttered. "That's right. I obtained this prismatic crystal by chance. It's called the Spirit Illusion Realm. Within this Spirit Illusion Realm, your souls will be able to move just like your real bodies," the purple-blooded void immortal said. Chu Kuangren was not surprised. It was as if he already knew about this. On the other side, Shui Qianhua and Jian Sanju also noticed Chu Kuangren's arrival, and their eyes were filled with surprise. "I can't believe there's another sky pride besides us who can enter the Purple Blood Taoist Palace," Jian Sanju said. From his appearance, it seems like he's the Chu Kuangren who defeated a group of immortal seeds on Dusty Sky Star half a year ago. Shui Qianhua's eyes lit up. Yes, it's him. Jian Sanju remembered as well, and his eyes were filled with battle intent. This person has mastered an immortal sword Dao technique. I wonder if he's stronger than me. As the 2 conversed, Chu Kuangren was already in front of them. "Since you've just entered the Spirit Illusion Realm, I'm sure the purple-blooded void immortal has already told you about this trial," Shui Qianhua said. She looked at Chu Kuangren with a strange look in her eyes. Chu Kuangren's appearance and demeanor were very attractive even to a female immortal seed like Shui Qianhua. Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. The purple-blooded void immortal is very thoughtful. He said that we're both immortal seeds with unlimited potential, so he couldn't bear to see us kill each other for his inheritance. Hence, he set up this spirit illusion realm to allow our souls to leave our bodies and fight here. In here, our souls won't die. Xianxia said. I know. So, let's have a good battle later. Xianxia changed the topic and said. All right. Chu Kuangren nodded. Then, his figure flashed and appeared on the arena. Jin Fei and Zifeng, who were originally fighting, were stunned when they saw him. What's going on? Newcomer, we haven't even decided who's the winner yet. Why are you suddenly here? Jin Fei said unhappily. Zifeng looked at the other party and his eyes were filled with coldness. Chu Kuangren stood with his hands behind his back. Although he was in soul form, his Taoist Tao was directly revealed. Countless Taoist patterns intertwined and circulated with him as the center, forming a terrifying domineering aura that enveloped the entire area. The soul illusion realm suddenly trembled. Although I can't fight your real bodies in this soul illusion realm, the difference isn't that big. The four of you, come at me together. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. He wanted to fight against four of them alone. Moreover, they were the top 4 immortal seeds in the purple-gold galaxy. Arrogant. Kid, don't you think you're being too arrogant? Even the purple-blood virtual immortal who was secretly observing was a little confused. Chu Kuangren stood still and looked at Xianxia and said, Didn't you say that you want to have a good battle with me? Why aren't you coming up? Xianxia's face was a little gloomy. He did want to have a good battle with Chu Kuangren and see what kind of sword Dao immortal technique his opponent had. However, he said it was a one-on-one battle, not a group fight. He felt that his dignity as a swordsman was being challenged. Purple blood virtual immortal, aren't you going to say something in this situation? Jin Fei said to the void. Since Junior Chu wants to fight against 4 of us, then I have nothing to say. As long as you succeed, the inheritance is yours. The purple blood virtual immortal said calmly. Upon hearing that, the few of them were a little surprised. They did not expect the purple blood virtual immortal to agree to such a request. Fine, then I'll deal with this arrogant kid first, then I'll fight you guys. Jin Fei sneered. He took a step forward, and Taoist patterns intertwined and circulated in his hands. His fist shone with a golden light, and a domineering aura swept out. Upon seeing that, Chu Kuangren also threw out a punch. The Taoist patterns intertwined and the 2 fists collided. Jin Fei's body was instantly sent flying out of the arena. How can this be? Even if his strength is above mine, how can he be so much stronger? Countless green dots of light dissipated from Jin Fei's body. That was his soul energy. Although the soul would not die in the soul illusion realm, the soul energy would still be depleted. Chapter 848. In the Spiritual Illusion Realm. Chu Kuangren sent Jin Fei flying with a single punch. His powerful combat strength instantly caused everyone's pupils to shrink and a serious look appeared in their eyes. No wonder he dared to fight for it once. So that's how it is. What a powerful combat strength. Looks like we really need to team up. Jin Fei and Zifeng looked at each other. Then, the purple star and golden star sequences rushed towards Chu Kuangren at the same time. Even in their soul forms, they still used their soul energy to manifest their Taoist techniques as they continuously attacked Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren unleashed his techniques with a single thought. Flames and chills exploded one after another, stirring up the spiritual illusion realm. The 2 third-rank immortal seeds could not help but feel extremely troubled by the immense power. They were actually being suppressed. D***. Immortal technique, galactic apocalypse. Zifeng raised his hand and activated his immortal technique. A gigantic and dazzling galaxy swept towards Chu Kuangren. On the other side, the golden star sequence Jin Fei was not to be outdone. Golden light flowed around his body and formed into a gigantic palm that grabbed towards Chu Kuangren with an earth-shattering force. The 2 immortal techniques were unleashed at the same time, their power shaking the heavens and earth. Chu Kuangren smiled at the sight of this. As he raised his hand, a sword ray danced in his hand and turned into a long sword. With the long sword in hand, an emperor avatar formed behind him. Honorable Emperor Sword Art, sole dominator of the universe. Below the stage, the third swordsman could not help but narrow his eyes at the sight of this sword. What a powerful sword Dao immortal technique. He was a little eager to try it out. On the stage, the two immortal techniques collided with each other. The result was, of course, Chu Kuangren was stronger as he directly swept away the two fairy seeds. At the side, Xianxia could not sit still anymore. The power that Chu Kuangren had displayed was not something that any of them could defeat in a one-on-one fight. If they did not finish him off first, they would not be able to defeat him. Then, this inheritance would naturally have nothing to do with them. Immortal technique, raging waves. Xianxia's body was surrounded by water rays. Then, countless water rays condensed in her palm, and a powerful shockwave suddenly erupted. With a blast of her palm, thousands of water rays intertwined into a torrent that struck out. With a single thought, 10,000 rivers of snow and ice. Chu Kuangren gently raised his hand. Powerful psychic power fluctuated and turned into endless cold air. With a loud bang, cold air swept out and froze the water that filled the sky. Xianxia's face changed as she retreated. However, half of her arm was still frozen by the frost chi, and a large amount of her soul force dissipated. This was also in the spirit fantasy realm. If it was in the real world, her arm would probably be crippled. You really don't know how to be gentle with the fairer sex. Xianxia looked at Chu Kuangren and still had the mood to tease him. However, the Taoist Tao on her body was unleashed once again. The water rays that filled the sky turned into countless water droplets and rained down on Chu Kuangren like a torrential rain. Useless move. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. With a thought, the cold air appeared again. When the water droplets got close to him, they turned into countless ice beads and fell to the ground. I'm afraid this fellow's strength is comparable to that of a sequence one. Xianxia said with a solemn expression. Purple Star and Venus were the two sequence ones. They were publicly acknowledged as the strongest immortal seeds in the purple gold galaxy. Ordinary great Tao lords could easily defeat them. From Xianxia's point of view, Chu Kuangren in front of her was very likely to have reached that level as well, or even more. Whether he can be compared to a sequence one will depend on whether he can withstand this move of mine. A cold voice rang out. Zifeng leaped into the air with starlight circulating around his body, forming an illusion of the Big Dipper in the void. However, among the 7 stars, the last star was a little dim, but that did not affect the power of this move at all. Take this. Immortal technique, 7-star god art. 6 of the 7 stars shot out one after another. The power of this attack shook the entire spirit fantasy realm. When Chu Kuangren saw this, his expression changed slightly. This move is getting a little interesting. The Taoist patterns on his body intertwined as he unleashed the ultimate mystery. With a single thought, all sounds are silenced, and the heavens and earth die. Circles of light waves spread out with him as the center, colliding with the 6 incoming stars. The rumbling sounds were continuous. One by one, the 6 stars were destroyed by Chu Kuangren. This scene made Zifeng's pupils dilate. How is this possible? Even my 7-star god art, which has reached the 6th level, can't beat him. At that moment, a buzzing sound of swords rang out. Not far away, the 3rd swordsman finally could not hold it in any longer and made his move. 3 swords pierced through the air and shot towards Chu Kuangren. One sword was like the scorching sun. One sword was like the moon of the moon. One sword was like the shining stars. 3 swords, 3 different types of sword daos erupted. Chu Kuangren squinted his eyes, and the long sword in his hand that was formed from his soul energy slashed out, hitting the 3 swords. After a few clangs, the 3 swords flew back and circled around the 3rd swordsman, their majestic sword pressure enveloping the entire area. The rotation of 3 talents, This is the Royal Heaven Sword sect's most powerful immortal technique, the Royal Heaven Tri-Talent Sword Art. Xianxia said solemnly. The Royal Heaven Sword sect was one of the oldest orthodoxies in the Purple Gold Galaxy. In terms of cultivation civilizations, the Purple Star and Venus were the strongest. The Royal Heaven Sword sect was the strongest orthodoxy in the Purple Gold Galaxy. Not even the Purple Star and Venus dared to say that they could win against the Royal Heaven Sword sect. Fight! The third swordsman let out a cold roar and flew onto the stage. He held the sun sword of the three swords of solitude, moonlight, and slashed towards Chu Kuangren. The sword ray was like the great sun. Chu Kuangren lifted his arm and a golden-red fiery lotus shot out. Boom! The fiery lotus and the sword chi intertwined, causing a huge impact. It was as if the entire soul illusion realm was about to explode. Then, the moon sword beside the third swordsman automatically unleashed a dazzling sword chi. This sword chi was extremely cold and sinister. Wherever the sword chi passed, the entire stage was frozen. Chu Kuangren unleashed the 10,000 snowy mist with a single thought. Fighting cold with cold. After the two energies collided, it was as if the surroundings had turned into the middle of winter. The sky was covered in snow, and the ground was covered in silver. The third swordsman unleashed the third sword technique. This third sword technique split into thousands of sword rays that shone like countless stars in the night sky. It was a dazzling sight to behold. 10,000 blade disaster with a single thought. Chu Kuangren commanded. Countless weapons condensed, transforming into a storm of spirit weapons. Boom, boom, boom. The starlight sword chi collided with the spiritual weapons and exploded. In the void, waves of chi were sent tumbling. Shui Qianhua, Jin Fei, and Zi Feng were all forced to retreat. The final technique. Triple rotation, Royal Heavenly Sword. The third swordsman snorted coldly. 3 different types of sword daos then converged to form an incredibly powerful sword intent. It then transformed into a gigantic sword shadow that exuded an infinite amount of power as it slashed towards Chu Kuangren. Let's fight sword with sword then. As Chu Kuangren lifted his arm, an emperor's avatar appeared. The Honorable Emperor's sword art, sole dominator of the universe. In the center of the avatar's palm, dozens of sword chi flowed and condensed into a domineering golden sword chi that slashed towards the gigantic sword shadow. When the two sword daos collided, the entire stage cracked. The sword chi was like a storm that swept across the soul illusion realm. Chapter 849. The sword chi storm swept across, shaking the entire soul illusion realm. When the storm dissipated, one of them stood tall, while the other was kneeling on the ground. Chu Kuangren pressed his long sword against Sanju Swordsman's shoulder. Sanju Swordsman's expression was grim as he half knelt on the ground. His soul energy had been depleted by half. I've lost. Sanju Swordsman took a deep breath and said. Chu Kuangren's long sword dissipated as he said, "This is not something to be ashamed of, because the person you've lost to is me." Everyone looked at each other. How shameless did he have to be to say something like that? Losing to you is a kind of glory? Of course, they did not say it out loud. After all, only the winner had the right to decide everything. And now they were the losers. I'll find you for another battle. Sanju Swordsman stood up and said. Through this battle with Chu Kuangren, he felt that his sword intent had improved. As long as he continued to polish it, he would be able to reach the next level. Based on that alone, he should be thanking Chu Kuangren. I'll be waiting. Chu Kuangren said. He did not take his opponent's declaration of war to heart. Those who were defeated by him would never stand a chance against him, and those people could only chase after him until they disappeared from his sight. After defeating the 4 immortal seeds, the entire soul illusion realm began to shake. Countless rays of light circulated in the void, which then formed into a purplish-red altar. Congratulations, Chu Kuangren. My inheritance is now yours. The purple-blooded illusionary immortal's voice rang out. Stand on this stage, and I will use a secret technique to pass on all my insights and cultivation experiences to you, helping you become an immortal. Upon hearing that, the other 4 people could not help but have a burning passion in their eyes. They had already seen the glory of becoming an immortal, and their understanding of cultivation was much stronger than some of the Sky Masters. If they could convert their cultivation experiences and insights into their own, it would be a huge help to them in becoming immortals. Heh, the cultivation experience of an illusionary immortal? Chu Kuangren let out a chuckle and flew onto the altar. Instantly, the altar shook and rays of light circulated. Then, 4 pillars of light rose from the 4 corners of the altar, forming an enchanted boundary that trapped Chu Kuangren within. The others looked at each other, feeling that something was wrong. What's going on? Is this barrier to prevent us from launching a sneak attack? No, look. 4 purplish-red chains flew out from the 4 light pillars and bound Chu Kuangren's limbs. It did not look like they were used to prevent others from ambushing him, but to prevent him from leaving. Ha, success! A laugh rang out. An old man in a purplish-red robe appeared on the altar. He looked at Chu Kuangren with a look of ecstasy in his eyes. A 39-year-old Taoist master. What an immortal seed! The expressions of the others changed when they saw the old man. It's a purple-blood void immortal. Something's wrong. Didn't the purple-blooded virtual immortal already leave the purple-gold galaxy? Why did it suddenly appear? What's going on? Could it be that what's left in this spirit realm isn't the will of the purple-blood virtual immortal, but his soul? The few immortal seeds were bewildered. On the other hand, Chu Kuangren, who was bound to the altar, looked calm and composed. The purple-blooded virtual immortal was surprised to see that. Chu Kuangren, are you pretending to be calm, or are you really that confident? Heh, take a guess. Chu Kuangren said playfully. He looked at the purple-blooded virtual immortal with a glint in his eyes like a hunter looking at his prey. It was as if the one being bound was not him but the purple-blooded virtual immortal. Purple-blooded virtual immortal, what's going on? At that moment, Jin Fei could not help but ask. Huh? What's going on? You guys don't have to worry about that. Just watch. Don't worry, since Chu Kuangren has taken the bait, I won't do anything to you guys anymore, the purple-blooded virtual immortal said. However, the few of them did not feel at ease at all. Everything had happened too quickly. They would only feel anxious if they did not understand what was going on. Hey, what's going on? Why don't I explain it to you? At that moment, the bound Chu Kuangren laughed. The others looked at him and frowned. Now that he had become a fish on someone else's chopping board, how could he still laugh? The purple-blooded virtual immortal looked at Chu Kuangren with interest. He wanted to see what his opponent could say. The purple-blooded virtual immortal is actually dead. Chu Kuangren said calmly. His first words were shocking. The purple-blooded virtual immortal's expression froze when he heard that. To be more precise, the purple-blooded virtual immortal's physical body has already perished. What we're seeing now is his remnant soul. What he wants to do is to take over someone else's body and be reborn. However, as a virtual immortal, how could he be willing to take over an ordinary cultivator's body? Of course, it's best to take over a celestial seed. That's the only way for him to become an immortal. That's why he spread the rumor that he's leaving the galaxy and is preparing to inherit the ancient star. He'll use the ancient star as bait to attract the celestial seeds and choose the best one to take over. Am I right? Chu Kuangren chuckled. The purple-blooded virtual immortal laughed when he heard that. I can't believe that you're still able to figure out my intentions in such a dangerous situation. Chu Kuangren, other than your talent, your wisdom is also rare. The others' expressions darkened when they heard that. They looked at the purple-blooded virtual immortal coldly. Anyone who was tricked like that would not be happy. Purple-blooded virtual immortal, you're making an enemy out of the purple star. If anything happens to me, the golden star will not forgive you. Faced with the threat, the purple-blooded virtual immortal said calmly, if I can be reborn as a celestial seed, so what if I have to make an enemy out of the immortal technique civilization? With the potential of a celestial seed and my cultivation experience as a virtual immortal, my chances of becoming an immortal will greatly increase in this life. Not to mention, there's also the opportunity of fortune that will soon appear in the shattered immortal world. I, the purple-blooded virtual immortal, will definitely set foot on the path of immortality. A hint of ambition flashed in the purple-blooded virtual immortal's eyes. I won't be like I was in the past, where I went into closed-door meditation for a few millennia just to seek immortality. In the end, I've exhausted all my energy and died from chi deviation. If it weren't for this spiritual illusion realm, I'm afraid I wouldn't even be able to preserve this remnant soul of mine. Alright, that's all. Chu Kuangren, it's time to devour your soul and take over your body. The purple-blooded virtual immortal's palm landed on Chu Kuangren's body, causing the chains to tremble and erupt with a mysterious energy that continuously disintegrated Chu Kuangren's soul energy. Countless specks of light drifted out from Chu Kuangren's body. The purple-blooded virtual immortal opened his mouth wide and swallowed those specks of light into his body. A look of joy appeared on his face. What a pure soul energy. Chu Kuangren, it's great to have met you. Heh, are you sure you can absorb me completely? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Don't even think about resisting. This soul refinement altar is specifically used to refine souls. Moreover, you've just gone through a great battle and have consumed most of your soul energy. How are you going to resist my power? The purple-blooded virtual immortal sneered. He was determined to obtain Chu Kuangren's soul. Only by devouring Chu Kuangren's soul could he merge with Chu Kuangren's physical body and unleash the full potential of the celestial seed. Chapter 850. In the soul illusionary realm, the soul altar suddenly appeared. Chu Kuangren was trapped within it, and his soul energy was constantly being refined by the purple-blood illusionary immortal. Not far away, the few fairy seeds looked at each other. What a shame! A top-notch fairy seed is about to die. Zifeng shook his head. However, he only had a gloating expression on his face. He did not hold any grudges against Chu Kuangren, but he was happy to have one less powerful opponent on his path to immortality. Idiot! However, the third swordsman suddenly shouted. What do you mean? Zifeng's expression darkened. Do you really think that the purple-blood illusionary immortal will let us go after he refines Chu Kuangren? Don't be so naive. The third swordsman said coldly. His opponent was the illusionary immortal. Who knew what other tricks he had up his sleeves? The other three were deep in thought when they heard his words. Third swordsman, I have no need to offend Purple Star, Gold Star, Royal Heaven Sword Sect, and Feeble Water Palace. As long as I refine Chu Kuangren, I'll let you guys go. The purple-blood illusionary immortal said from the soul altar. However, the third swordsman ignored him. He focused his sword fingers and channeled his soul energy into 3 swords that hovered around him. I only believe in the swords in my hands. After that, the 3 swords pierced through the air and slashed at the soul altar. Boom! The void trembled, and the sword chi dissipated. However, the soul altar was unharmed. The third swordsman frowned. It's useless. Even at your peak, you guys can't break the enchanted boundary of this altar. Not to mention, you guys have just gone through a huge battle and your soul energy is greatly damaged, the purple-blood illusionary immortal said. This is the reason why you pretended to set up this test. You wanted to deplete our soul energy and make it easier for you to attack us. The third swordsman said coldly. That's right. In fact, when you agreed to Chu Kuangren's request to have the 4 of us attack him together, you already had your eyes on Chu Kuangren at that time and wanted to take over his body. By having us attack him together, we can deplete his soul energy to the greatest extent, Xianxia said. That's right. The purple-blood illusionary immortal smiled and nodded. Xianxia snorted lightly as his soul force burst forth. Streams of watery light revolved around him, turning into torrential waves that crashed against the barrier around the altar. Oh, you want to save him too? It would be a pity for such a good-looking man to die. Besides, I don't believe your nonsense, just like the 3 absolute swordsmen. Dao patterns revolved around Xianxia as he prepared to gather immortal arts. The sword pressure emanating from the Triju swordmaster's body continued to rise. When the nearby Jin Fei and Zifeng saw this, They pondered deeply for a moment before similarly activating their immortal arts and preparing to make a move. It was clear that they were more willing to believe in themselves than placing all their hopes on the purple-blooded void immortal's verbal promise. 4 waves of immortal spells erupted at the same time, blasting toward the barrier around the altar. However, after the fierce collision, the altar's barrier was not damaged in the slightest. There wasn't even a crack on it. "I told you, you won't be able to break this barrier," the purple-blooded void immortal said indifferently. "What if it's me?" An indifferent voice sounded. It was Chu Kuangren. The purple-blooded phantom immortal was taken aback. Looking at Chu Kuangren, whose soul energy was being refined by him, he could not help but sneer. "Chu Kuangren, you can't even protect yourself now, and you still want to break my enchantment? Heh, who told you that I only have myself? Forget about purple-blooded void immortals." Sanju swordsmen and the others were stunned. "I only have myself? Chu Kuangren, I think your soul energy has been refined to the point that you've lost consciousness. You only have one soul, don't tell me you have 2? The purple-blooded void immortal sneered. Chu Kuangren smirked. "It's 3. Boom." As soon as he said that, the entire soul illusion realm suddenly shook violently. Not far away, 2 white-robed figures who were sitting on top of the lotus thrones flew over, their bodies emanating an incomparably terrifying aura. More importantly, the 2 of them looked exactly the same. No, it was not just their appearance, even their auras were identical. Those 2 were Chu Kuangren. Impossible. The purple-blooded void immortal was extremely shocked. The other immortal seeds were even more dumbfounded. 3 Chu Kuangren? Who could tell them what was going on? The 2 Chu Kuangren flew into the air and arrived above the soul-refining altar. One of them looked at Chu Kuangren on the altar and laughed. "Human soul, you look really pathetic." That was right. The soul that was being refined in the altar was only the human soul of Chu Kuangren's 3 souls. As the main soul, the heavenly soul, had just entered. In other words, even if the human soul was refined by the purple-blooded void immortal, it would not affect Chu Kuangren too much. He could just find time to cultivate it back. "If you don't do something soon, I'll really be dead. Besides, this void immortal's soul is a great tonic. Come in and devour it together," the human soul said. "All right." The earth soul and heavenly soul chuckled. Suddenly, their gazes froze. As the earth soul lifted his arm, Taoist patterns intertwined and his soul energy exploded. His punch was an invincible technique, heaven and earth reversal. The fist energy soared into the sky, causing the sun and moon to flip and the world to tremble. Meanwhile, the heavenly soul used his soul energy to form a white jade sword. Its majestic sword pressure poured out like a torrent, forming an emperor's avatar. It was the immortal technique, honorable emperor's sword art. Soul dominator of the universe. One was invincible, while the other was an overbearing immortal technique. The 2 Chu Kuangrens unleashed their ultimate techniques at the same time. The surging power caused the entire soul illusory realm to shake violently. The few immortal seeds were dumbfounded when they saw that. They realized that the heavenly soul and earthly soul's powers were slightly stronger than the human souls. This meant that Chu Kuangren did not use his full strength when he fought them earlier. At the very least, the 3 souls did not attack together. Otherwise, they would be dead in 2 to 3 moves. 3 souls? How can this be? What kind of cultivation technique is this? Freak. That was the only thought left in the few immortal seeds' minds. Under the shocked gazes of the few people, the sword chi and fist energy landed on the enchanted boundary of the altar. The enchanted boundary that even the immortal seeds could not break was torn open. The heavenly soul and earthly soul's figures flashed and flew into the altar. What kind of broken chain is this? Break it. The earth soul looked at the chain that bound the human soul and curled his lips. He then swiped his sword finger and several sword chi formed from the souls landed on the chain. With a clang, the chain was broken. The human soul regained its freedom. All right, it's time to deal with this old man, the human soul said calmly. The purple-blooded virtual immortal gulped and looked at Chu Kuangren's 3 souls in disbelief. What kind of monster are you? There was only 1 soul in a cultivator's body. How could there be 3 of them? Let's do it. Chu Kuangren did not want to waste any more time talking to his opponent. The 3 souls immediately attacked. One used the immortal technique Supreme Emperor's Sword Art, one used the mysterious Invincible technique, and the last used the Rise of a Thought. All of them attacked the purple-blooded virtual immortal at the same time. The endless techniques and powerful soul fluctuations were too much for the purple-blooded virtual immortal to handle, and he was instantly at a disadvantage. His years of planning had turned into a dream at that moment. Chapter 851. The 3 souls attacked at the same time, fighting against the purple-blooded void immortal. With a single thought, the art of the undefeatable and the Reverend Emperor's sword technique were displayed at the same time. This kind of power shocked all the immortal seeds. The purple-blooded void immortal, who was taking the brunt of the attack, was even more suppressed. Boom! The purple-blooded phantom immortal was struck by the invincible technique, Universal Reversal. A large amount of soul light dots emerged from his body and were absorbed into Chu Kuangren's body. 9 Revolutions 3 Elements Soul Refining Art. The soul energy was quickly refined and absorbed by him. This altar of yours is quite useful. Chu Kuangren chuckled. The refining soul altar was one of the treasures of the purple blood void immortal. On it, the more powerful souls could absorb the souls of the weaker ones. Meanwhile, the purple-blooded spectral immortal was both shocked and enraged when he saw that Chu Kuangren was continuously absorbing his soul energy. His entire soul form was trembling. Initially, she thought that she was the meat on Chu Kuangren's chopping block. She thought that Chu Kuangren could only be put on the chopping block and be obediently slaughtered by her. Who would have thought that the other party was the hunter and he was the prey? Moreover, it was the kind of prey that obediently delivered itself to his doorstep. Damn it! How could something like this have happened? It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. The purple blood void immortal couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he tried. His plan was flawless. How could a variable like Chu Kuangren appear? When did you know that I wanted to take over your body? The purple-blooded void immortal asked indignantly. I knew it the moment I entered the Violet Blood Dao Palace. Chu Kuangren sneered. Xiao AI was able to figure out what the prismatic crystal, which contained the spirit illusion realm and the purple-blooded virtual immortal soul, was capable of. He didn't even have to guess. How could that be? Even if you're as intelligent as a demon, it's still impossible. The purple-blooded void immortal was astonished. He knew my plan the moment we met. You must be bragging. But if that wasn't the case, how did the plan get leaked? As wise as a demon? Heh, thanks for the compliment. To be more precise, it wasn't him, but Xiao AI. Speaking of which, Xiao AI wasn't very intelligent. However, she was even more exaggerated than devilish wisdom. She was a cheat. Humph humph. Xiao AI snorted in his mind. Look at how smug you are. No. Tiske, only a ghost would believe that. Chu Kuangren curled his lips and continued to deal with the purple-blooded illusory immortal. If the purple-blooded hollow immortal was at his peak, with the strength of a hollow immortal's soul, even if he cultivated the 9 Revolution 3 Elements refining soul technique, he would not be able to defeat the purple-blooded hollow immortal so easily. However, the purple-blooded void immortal was only a remnant soul. No matter how strong a remnant soul was when it was still alive, it was no match for Chu Kuangren now. It was only a remnant soul that was left behind by the spiritual illusion realm. No, I have to leave. Otherwise, I will really die here. Seeing that Chu Kuangren's attacks were getting stronger and stronger, the purple-blooded phantom immortal suddenly wanted to leave. He opened the enchanted boundary of the altar and dashed away. Where can you go? Chu Kuangren chuckled. The 3 souls attacked at the same time. Dao patterns intertwined and psyche power circulated. Following that, the Dao patterns turned into 3 world chains that flew out. The void immortal was bound by the world lock like a bolt of lightning. Heh, just now you used chains to lock me up. Now, this is called giving you a taste of your own medicine. The human soul sneered and yanked fiercely. The purple-blooded void immortal was instantly pulled back onto the soul-refining altar. He had no way of escaping under the restraint of the world lock. D****. Immortal technique, amethyst dragon crimson finger. The purple-blooded void immortal roared and unleashed his immortal technique. However, before he could fully unleash his technique, Chu Kuangren's three souls attacked at the same time and interrupted his opponent's energy. The three souls surrounded the purple-blooded void immortal. Not long after, the void immortal's soul was shattered into pieces. A large amount of soul energy dissipated and was absorbed by Chu Kuangren's soul. As time went by, the purple-blooded void immortal's soul gradually dissipated. Arise with a single thought. Honorable Emperor Sword Art. Technique of invincibility. Three surges of energy erupted at the same time. The purple-blooded void immortal's soul was completely destroyed. Chu Kuangren absorbed a large amount of soul light dots into his body, and the 9 transformations 3 elemental soul refinement technique was activated to its maximum. 9 transformations 3 elemental, merge. Chu Kuangren's heavenly soul shouted. The earth and human souls merged into the heavenly soul, and an even more terrifying soul-domineering aura erupted and swept in all directions. 9 transformations 3 elemental, the 5th transformation, completed. Not only that, but the earth and human souls were once again formed, and each of them was filled with surging soul energy. Sword Tri Ju and Shui Qianhua shuddered under the terrifying soul-domineering aura. The few immortal seeds were dumbfounded. What a strange soul cultivation technique. Alright, it's time to head back. Chu Kuangren murmured. Then, the 3 souls combined their strength and attacked the void. There was a loud explosion. The void was torn apart. A crack was forcefully torn open in the spirit illusion realm. Chu Kuangren's 3 souls rushed towards the crack, and Sword Tri Ju and Shui Qianhua immediately regained their senses. Everyone quickly followed Chu Kuangren's footsteps and rushed into the crack. Inside the purple-blooded Taoist palace, several rays of light shot out from the levitating prismatic crystal and entered Chu Kuangren's body. He suddenly opened his eyes. Heh, I've gained quite a lot this time. The purple-blooded void immortal's inheritance was a lie. However, his soul energy was real. This time, his 9 transformations 3 elemental soul refinement technique had been upgraded from the 4th transformation to the 5th transformation, and it was even at the peak of the 5th transformation. Now, he could easily kill a great Tao master with just his mind energy alone. If he were to use his Emperor's Qi and other techniques, he would not even be afraid of the top great Tao masters. This trip to the ancient Star of Heritage was not a waste. Chu Kuangren smiled. At that moment, several rays of light shot out from the prismatic crystal. It was Shui Qianhua and the others. They returned to their physical bodies and opened their eyes to look at Chu Kuangren. Their eyes were filled with fear and Chu Kuangren ignored the immortal seeds and got up to grab the prismatic crystal in his hand. He carefully sensed it. You want to take this soul illusion realm away? Zifeng asked. Why? You guys don't agree? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Everyone looked at each other, and no one dared to say a word. What kind of joke was that? Even the purple blood virtual immortal was killed by him. Although the soul illusion realm was a battle of souls, and he did not use his physical cultivation, I don't think his physical combat strength is that bad. A soul illusion realm is useless to me. I don't cultivate soul Tao, so I don't mind giving it to him. The immortal seeds each had their own thoughts, and none of them made a move. Chu Kuangren chuckled when he saw that. Boring. He then walked out of the purple blood Taoist palace. The other immortal seeds followed suit. When Zihan, Cruel Gold, and the other immortal seeds saw Zifeng and the others coming out, they quickly went up to them. Zifeng, what's the situation inside? Who got the inheritance? Zifeng shook his head. No one got the inheritance. The few of them briefly explained what happened in the purple blood Taoist palace. The immortal seeds could not help but look at each other when they heard that. The inheritance is fake, And all the treasures are in Chu Kuangren's hands. Doesn't that mean he's the biggest winner? Together with the spirit fantasy realm, we didn't gain as much as he did. Zifeng frowned. Chu Kuangren got all the treasures? That's right. F***CK. If that was the case, did that not mean that their trip here was all for naught? We can't let him leave just like that. There's no inheritance, but those treasures are real. We can't let them fall into Chu Kuangren's hands just like that. Chapter 852. Outside the Purple Blood Planet, many forces were paying close attention to the situation. Suddenly, a furious roar came from one of the warships. Who was it? Who killed my clan's immortal seed? A furious roar resounded through the starry sky. Many people heard it. They looked over and revealed playful expressions. It's the Black-Winged Ape clan. Ah, interesting. The celestial seed of the Black-Winged Ape clan has been killed. I wonder who did it. If I remember correctly, the celestial seed's power is extraordinary. Of the geniuses who entered the Purple Blood Planet this time, there are probably less than 5 who could kill it. Indeed. Could it be someone from Purple Star or Venus? If it was really done by the immortal seeds of those two civilizations, then even if the Black-Winged Ape had 100 grievances, it would have no choice but to swallow it. Purple Star. Venus was the strongest civilization in the Purple Gold Galaxy. Although the Black-Winged Ape's foundation was extraordinary, it could not compare to the other party. If they were to forcefully start a war, they would only be courting death. Whoosh, whoosh, one after another, streams of light flew out. All the geniuses had come out. The top experts of the various forces all went up to understand the situation, wanting to know who had obtained the inheritance. But after understanding what had happened, everyone couldn't help but feel astonished. This inheritance was fake? They were all fooled by the purple-blooded void immortal? What a purple-blood illusionary immortal! He's despicable and shameless. If it weren't for the fact that I, the Purple Star Immortal, am blessed by fate, I'm afraid I would have been killed by him. One of Purple Star's top masters could not help snorting coldly as he raised his hand and sent out a palm strike, sending out a star river tens of thousands of kilometers in length. With a boom, more than half of Purple Blood Planet was destroyed. As the Purple Blood False Immortal perished, the false immortal power of the Purple Blood Star also gradually dissipated. The star could not withstand more than a few blows from the ultimate elite. Where is Chu Kuangren? At that moment, the strong cultivators of the Black Gale Ape tribe let out an angry roar. They already knew that it was Chu Kuangren who had killed their immortal seed. Apart from the Black-Winged Ape, the other forces were also looking for this person. After all, most of the treasures on the Purple Blood Star had entered his interspatial ring. They could not act as if nothing had happened. The experts' monarch senses swept out. Soon, they had locked onto Chu Kuangren's whereabouts. At this moment, the other party had taken out a warship and was leisurely preparing to leave this place and head to the next place to train. But in the next instant, the Emperor's senses of many experts swept over. Chu Kuangren paused for a moment. He smirked. Sure enough, it won't be that easy to leave. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, the figures leaped into the air and stood in midair, sealing Chu Kuangren within. Their terrifying auras filled the entire starry sky. So what if it's a peak immortal seed? Without a strong enough background, they will still have to spit out the treasures they obtained. That's right. Treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. Let me see how arrogant he can be. Not far away, when Zifeng, Jin Fei, and the others saw this scene, some of them revealed gloating expressions. Chu Kuangren, do you want to leave just like that after killing my Black Gale Ape's immortal seed? You're too naive. A Black Gale Ape that was about the same size as a normal human with black fur stared at him with murderous intent. Chu Kuangren, hand over the treasures you obtained from the Purple Blood Taoist Palace, and I'll pretend that nothing happened when you killed my people, one of the great Taoist lords said. That's right. A mere Taoist lord like you wants to take all the treasures for yourself. Don't you think your appetite is too big? Hand over the treasures, and you may live. All the experts from the various forces were pressuring Chu Kuangren. Half a year ago, when Chu Kuangren battled the immortal seed, they had already investigated his background and knew that he was from the Firmament Star. Although it was a high-level cultivation civilization, it was still a far cry from the truly powerful forces in the Purple Gold Galaxy. Hence, they were not afraid of making him their enemy. Chu Kuangren remained indifferent in the face of everyone's threats. If you want the treasures, why don't you fight me? Or are you afraid of something? Everyone's eyes flashed when they heard him. Indeed, Chu Kuangren was from the Firmament Star, so he did not have a strong background. However, he somehow managed to form a connection with the Mortal Sky Illusionary Immortal and obtained the Mortal Sky Jade token. That was what they were most afraid of. What's wrong? Are you mute? Chu Kuangren sneered. Everyone's expression darkened when they saw his attitude. Chu Kuangren, so what if you have the support of the Mortal Sky Illusionary Immortal for killing my tribe's immortal seed? Don't forget that the civilization you're from doesn't have many Taoist lords. If the Black Gale Ape tribe wants to, we can turn your Firmament Star into cosmic dust in just a few years. One of the Black Gale Ape tribe's experts said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, an extremely cold, murderous intent exploded and swept through the entire area. Try me, Chu Kuangren yelled. A clang was heard. The descendant's self-sword at his waist was unsheathed and landed in his palm. In the void, a gigantic colorful rune gathered and turned into 9 colorful dragons that instantly surged into Chu Kuangren's body. The Divine 9 Dragons transformation talisman was unleashed. Chu Kuangren's Emperor's Qi cultivation base instantly skyrocketed. He had directly skipped the peak of a minor Taoist lord and stepped into the great Tao master level. His Emperor's Qi and mind power were instantly unleashed. The celestial technique Supreme Emperor's Sword art was unleashed, and the Emperor's avatar was formed. Hundreds of sword qi gathered in the center of its palm and formed into a single sword shadow for the first time. Chu Kuangren unleashed a slash. The sword shadow in the avatar's hand followed suit and slashed towards the Black Gale Ape. What? Under the terrifying sword pressure, the Black Gale Ape's expression changed and it immediately transformed into its true form. It was a giant black ape that was hundreds of meters tall. The giant ape roared and activated the Black Gale. However, when the sword shadow landed, the Black Gale Ape was instantly torn apart. The Black Gale Ape was slashed from head to tail, leaving a huge bloody gash. A large amount of blood mist gushed out and rained down blood in the universe. Then, to everyone's horror, the Black Gale Ape's huge body was split into 2, and its internal organs and flesh floated in the void. Are you threatening me? I, Chu Kuangren, never submit to threats. If any of you want to go against Firmament Star, you can do so. If you want to destroy Firmament Star, I believe you have the strength to do so. However, I can easily defeat an immortal seed and have the potential to become an immortal. Given time, I'll become a heavenly Tao master and even have a high chance of becoming an immortal. So, before you kill me, if any of you dare to lay a finger on Firmament Star, be prepared to suffer my wrath. I may not be able to destroy you now, but who can guarantee that I won't be able to in the future? As long as I'm alive, I'll destroy the civilization that laid their hands on Firmament Star, and I won't rest until I'm dead. The universe was silent. Only Chu Kuangren's cold voice echoed. Coupled with the fact that he had just killed a great Tao master, his murderous aura instantly made everyone feel a sense of fear. That Black Gale Ape was at least a late-stage great Tao master, yet he killed it in one move. I can't believe his combat strength is so strong. Only a handful of immortal seeds have such strength. No, in the entire Purple Gold Galaxy, perhaps only one of the 2 Sequence 1 cultivators can do this. This person's words are true. If we don't kill him first, it'll be useless even if we destroy Firmament Star. We'll still have to be on guard day and night against the revenge of a peerless immortal seed. It's not worth it. Chapter 853. Chu Kuangren's cold voice echoed throughout the vast universe. Killing a great Taoist master with a single slash of his sword shocked all the strong cultivators at the scene, especially the fairy seeds. Everyone understood that Chu Kuangren was not lying. To the forces at the scene, destroying Firmament Star might not be a difficult task, but they would have to face Chu Kuangren's wrath after that. The growth potential of a peerless fairy seed was huge. No one could guarantee how strong it would be in the future. If they did not kill him first, destroying 10 Firmament Stars would be useless. Chu Kuangren. If that's the case, then I, the Black Gale Ape, shall kill you first, then destroy Firmament Star. One of the Black Gale Ape Taoist masters roared. First, their fairy seeds were killed, then their Taoist masters were killed. Their anger had reached its peak. At this point, they no longer cared about the Dust Sky Jade token. After all, the Dust Sky Illusionary Immortal was not here. It was just a Jade token. If they killed Chu Kuangren, they could just prepare some gifts to apologize. They did not believe that the Dust Sky Illusionary Immortal would fight them to the death. The Black Gale Ape tribe had their own resources. The few Black Gale Ape Taoist masters immediately transformed into their true forms, and terrifying ferocious chi swept out, filling the sky and shaking the stars. Bring it on then. Chu Kuangren held the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, and a majestic domineering aura filled the air. Just when the two sides were about to fight, from afar, a sword ray suddenly flew towards them. The overbearing sword ray swept across the scene with the force of a thunderbolt, intimidating everyone at the scene. Let's see who dares to hurt him. An indifferent voice was heard. A man in a green robe appeared from the green light. The strong cultivators at the scene could not help but be surprised to see this person. It's him, the master of the Mystic Moon Ancient City, the Divine Moon Taoist Master. I can't believe he's here. What's his relationship with Chu Kuangren? Not to mention the others. Chu Kuangren was also a little confused. He was sure that he had never seen the Divine Moon Taoist Master before, so why would he suddenly appear? Divine Moon Taoist Master, why are you protecting Chu Kuangren? A Black Gale Ape Great Taoist Master asked. The Divine Moon Taoist Master replied indifferently, I owe the Dust Sky Illusionary Immortal Master a debt of gratitude to me. His people are my friends. I must protect him. Hearing his words, everyone came to a sudden realization. On the other hand, some people revealed an as expected expression. As expected, it's because of the ethereal immortal. I heard that the Taoist master of the Divine Moon sect once obtained a Taoist weapon of the ethereal immortal when he was young, and he was even taught by the ethereal immortal for a few days. No wonder he wanted to help Chu Kuangren. The Heavenly Dust Medallion is too useful. Indeed, the empty immortal Chen Tian has an extremely high prestige in the Purple Gold Galaxy. There are countless people who have received favors from him. Most of these people are top-notch geniuses. Now, most of them have more or less grown up. Among them is even the Heaven Dao Master. The God Moon Dao Master is one of them. Everyone discussed animatedly. Chu Kuangren also knew why the other party wanted to help him. His fingertips caressed the jade token on his waist as he secretly thanked the imaginary immortal mortal heaven. With the arrival of the Divine Moon Path Master, the expressions of the experts of the Black Wind Ape clan changed, and they were extremely ugly. Among the cultivators who had come to Purple Blood Planet, the strongest was only a peak Great Dao Lord. There was still a considerable gap between them and the Heavenly Dao Lord. Damn it! The leader of the Black Wind Apes cursed under his breath as he stared at Chu Kuangren with hatred. We won't let this go easily. After leaving behind these ruthless words, they retreated. With the Heavenly Dao Master around, they could not do anything to Chu Kuangren. The people from the other forces also left one after another. Chu Kuangren, let's fight again another day. Third Sword said to Chu Kuangren. After that, he left the Purple Blood Planet with the elders. Chu Kuangren, you're not the strongest fairy seed in the Purple Star Galaxy. Don't forget, there's still me, the Purple Star First Sequence. If he comes out of his closed-door meditation, no matter how strong you are, you can only die with regret. Zi Feng snorted coldly. And me, the Gold Star First Sequence. Jean Fei added. In the face of such threats, Chu Kuangren did not care at all. No matter which sky pride it was, they were nothing in front of him. Besides, he would not stand still. His rate of improvement would only surpass everyone's imagination. Thank you for your help, brother Taoist. Chu Kuangren cupped his fists and said to the Sacred Moon Taoist Master. The Sacred Moon Taoist Master waved his hand and smiled. You're welcome. I just received a message from the Heavenly Dust Immortal not too long ago. By the way, the Mystic Moon Ancient City is nearby. Why don't you come with me and stay there for a few days? Then it would be impolite of me to decline. In the vast universe, there was a majestic ancient city floating in the air. The ancient city was unimaginably huge. It was as big as a continent, and there were many cultivators in the city, including many Taoist masters. Brother Chu, you've come at the right time. The Mystic Moon City's full moon secret realm is about to open. The Sacred Moon Taoist Master chuckled. Full moon secret realm? Yes, there's a secret realm in the Mystic Moon City that opens once every 1,000 years. Every time it opens, a large amount of moonlight will be released. This moonlight has a beneficial effect on cultivators' cultivation, so it attracts many cultivators every time, the Sacred Moon Taoist Master explained. I see. Chu Kuangren nodded. Mystic Moon City, in the City Lord's residence. A young lady was playing with a pot of flowers out of boredom. A maid walked over with a gift box in her hand. My lady, the Wang family's prince has sent you another gift. He said it's a 10,000-year-old luminous pearl that has the effect of calming one's mind. Oh, you can return it tomorrow. The young lady yawned. She was already used to such occurrences. Did you guys see that? The man that the city lord brought back is really good-looking. I don't think anyone in the city can compare to him. Yes, it's my first time seeing such a good-looking man. Two maids walked past and said something. The young lady's interest was piqued. What are they talking about? It seems like the city lord has brought someone back. Father's back? Yes, I think he brought a guest back too. Meanwhile, in the great hall of the city lord's residence, Chu Kuangren and the Sacred Moon Taoist Master were having a conversation. Father, you're back. At that moment, a delicate figure walked in. It was a young lady who looked to be 17 or 18 years old. She was as beautiful as a peach, and her beauty was alluring. Then, when the young lady saw Chu Kuangren beside the Sacred Moon Taoist Master, she was stunned. Her first impression was that he was good-looking. The more she looked at him, the better he looked. So what those people said was true. There's really someone this good-looking in this world, the young lady murmured. Hi Tang, you're here. The Sacred Moon Taoist Master smiled at Chu Kuangren. Brother Chu, let me introduce you. This is my daughter, Tang Haiting. Greetings, Miss Tang. My name is Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren? You're the Chu Kuangren who defeated a group of immortal seeds in the Dusty Sky planet? Tang Haitang's eyes lit up. Chu Kuangren smiled. He looked at Tang Haitang and felt a little strange. When he saw her, the book of physique in his body trembled a little. Xiao AI, analyze Tang Haiti. Chu Kuangren said in his heart. Analyzing. Tang Haiting, Emperor Realm. Unawakened immortal physique. Chapter 854. An unawakened immortal body? Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed. Tang Haitang had an immortal physique. The so-called immortal physique was a physique above the Tao physique. Every possessor of an immortal physique was a supreme immortal seed. However, some immortal physiques were not obvious in the early stages and needed a special method to awaken. For example, Tang Haitang had an unawakened immortal physique. I didn't expect to meet an immortal body here. This is too rare. Chu Kuangren was secretly surprised. One must know that even the first sequence of the Purple Star and Venus in the Purple Gold Galaxy had never heard of them possessing an immortal body. But Tang Haitang did. And she had. It was very likely that he had it as well. With the Book of Physique, he could easily analyze it and make it his. Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed as he looked at Tang Haitang with a fiery gaze, causing the young lady to blush. What to do? This good-looking fellow Taoist Chu has been staring at me all along. Could it be that he has taken a fancy to me? No way, Even the mystic moon Taoist's expression became a little strange. Chu Kuangren did not look like a cultivator who would be easily tempted by beauty, so why was he suddenly staring at his daughter? My apologies, I forgot my manners. Young friend Chu, what's wrong? Does fellow Taoist Xinyu know about your daughter's immortal body? Upon hearing that, the mystic moon Taoist master's expression froze. He stared at Chu Kuangren with a hint of wariness in his eyes. The divine moon Tao master was well aware of Tang Haitang's immortal body. Many years ago, hollow immortal Chen Tian came to Mystic Moon City as a guest and said that Tang Haitang had a celestial body, but because this celestial body needed a special method to awaken, even hollow immortal Chen Tian didn't know the method. Later on, Tang Haitang never displayed the cultivation talent that an immortal body should have, and the divine moon Taoist master gradually forgot about this matter. Now, Chu Kuangren had suddenly pointed out this matter accurately. Could it be that the other party had taken a fancy to his daughter's immortal body? What does he want to do? Young friend Chu, how did you know? I won't hide it from fellow Taoist Xinyu. I actually have some understanding of the Tao of physiques, which is why I was able to sense Miss Tang's immortal physique. I see. The Tao master of the Divine Moon sect relaxed his guard slightly. If Brother Xinyu is willing, I can help Miss Tang fully awaken her immortal physique, Chu Kuangren said with a smile. Upon hearing that, the Divine Moon Path master's pupils constricted. Awakening the immortal physique? Is this true? If Mystic Moon Ancient City had its own immortal physique, then the effect would be too great, and it would be greatly beneficial to Tang Haitang's cultivation. There was even a high chance that he would become an immortal in the future. But was this possible? One must know that even the mortal Sky Void Immortal had no way of helping her awaken her immortal body. Of course. Chu Kuangren smiled confidently. With the spirit of omniscience, Xiao AI, and the Book of Physique, it was not difficult for Chu Kuangren to help Tang Haitang awaken her immortal physique. What is it? I need some materials. Chu Kuangren told the Sacred Moon Taoist Lord about the conditions and materials needed to awaken his Taoist physique. Tang Haitang watched from the side with a confused look on her face. Immortal physique? Could she also awaken that powerful physique? Haitang, take little friend Chu to rest first. All right. Tang Haitang regained her senses and nodded. After Chu Kuangren left, the Sacred Moon Path Master took out a jade scroll and contacted the mortal Sky Void Immortal, telling him that he wanted to help Tang Haitang awaken her immortal physique. Little friend Chu's abilities are unfathomable. Even I can't figure out what he's capable of. Perhaps he can really help Haitang awaken her immortal physique. As for whether he will harm Haitang, I've known him for half a year, and I can guarantee you that he won't do such a thing. The mortal Sky Void Immortal said. The Sacred Moon Path Master nodded. Since Senior Chen Tian gave him the Mortal Sky Jade token, he must have passed your test. Since you trust him, I'll leave this matter to him. If little friend Chu can really help Tang Haitang awaken her immortal physique, you'll owe him a big favor. The Mortal Sky Void Immortal laughed. Huh, if he can help Haitang awaken her immortal physique, what's wrong with owing him a favor? The Sacred Moon Path Master smiled. On the Mortal Sky Planet. The Mortal Sky Void Immortal was studying runes when he suddenly thought of Chu Kuangren. He smiled. Equipment refinement, formation, runes, and now there's the ability to study physiques. Little friend Chu, how many more surprises do you want to surprise us? How many more abilities do you have? Ancient Mystic Moon City. City Hall. Chu Kuangren was arranged to stay in a guest room. He was not in a hurry to study Tang Haitang's immortal physique. After all, there were still a few months before the full moon secret realm opened. He would stay here until the secret realm opened, so he had all the time in the world. Now, he planned to organize his gains from the Purple Blood planet and improve his cultivation. His biggest gain from the Purple Blood planet this time was, of course, upgrading his soul refinement technique to the 5th transformation. However, the other gains were not bad either. There were also many Taoist supreme elixirs and Taoist sources. After spending a few days, Chu Kuangren had absorbed and refined everything that could be absorbed. The universal cauldron physique did not stop operating for even a moment. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren's cultivation had also risen to the peak minor Taoist master realm. He was only one step away from breaking through to the great Taoist master realm. After absorbing all the Taoist supreme elixirs and Taoist sources, Chu Kuangren took out the prismatic crystal he obtained from the Purple Blood Palace. Inside it was the soul illusionary realm and the soul refinement altar. He decided to refine them as well to gain full control of them. This soul illusionary realm allows souls to fight without fear of death. It's a great place for training. Perhaps I can let my 3 souls fight continuously in there to accumulate battle experience and improve my own weaknesses. Chu Kuangren thought to himself. Fighting with oneself without a care for one's life. Only Chu Kuangren would do something like that. He would do it if he wanted to. The Earth Soul and Human Soul entered the Soul Illusionary realm first. The battle began. The Earth Soul used one thought while the Human Soul used the technique of invincibility. The 2 great mysteries continuously circulated and clashed against each other. The battle lasted for 3 whole days. When both parties' soul energies were almost depleted, they returned to their bodies to recover before entering the soul illusionary realm to fight again. During this process, Chu Kuangren had a vague feeling that his one thought and the technique of invincibility could still improve. The ultimate mystery could still improve even more. I'm still not enlightened enough, but one day, I'll make these 2 cultivation techniques evolve again, Chu Kuangren murmured. These 2 cultivation techniques were created by him, and they were the most compatible with his Taoist Tao. He would not give up on them easily. Although they could not keep up with him at this stage, if his Taoist Tao could improve, there was no reason why the mysteries he created could not. There was no limit to Taoist techniques and Taoist Tao. Mediocre people had limited abilities, so they set boundaries for Taoist techniques and Taoist techniques. How could Chu Kuangren be mediocre? After his closed-door meditation ended, Chu Kuangren walked out of his room. Not long after, he bumped into Tang Haitang in his residence. Hey, Brother Chu, you're finally out. We're planning to go to the trading fair. Do you want to join us? Chapter 855. Trade Market. The Mystic Moon Ancient City is a neutral force in the Purple Gold Galaxy. So many cultivators come here to trade things that they don't want, Tang Haitang said. Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. He did have some Taoist weapons and treasures that he did not need, so he could trade them. There might even be some unexpected gains. Let's go then. Chu Kuangren smiled. All right. Tang Haitang was a little happy. She did not know why, but ever since she met Chu Kuangren a few days ago, his figure had been lingering in her mind. She realized that she had fallen in love with this young man whom she had just met for the first time. Was this what people meant by love at first sight? Along the way, Tang Haitang could not help but sneak a peek at Chu Kuangren. His nose, his mouth, his eyes, individually, it did not seem like much. However, when put together, he looked more and more handsome. Heavens, how can there be such a handsome man in this world? Tang Haitang could not help but scream in her heart. Chu Kuangren had also noticed her little movements. He could not help but sigh in his heart. This damn charm of mine has no place to put it. Master, she's lusting after your body. The omniscient spirit Xiao AI said. Don't make a fuss. There are plenty of people who are lusting after my body. Xiao AI was speechless. They arrived at the trade market. There were indeed many cultivators there. Most of them had placed a piece of cloth in front of them and placed things that they did not want on it. The best emperor weapon that can defend against a Daelord's attack. Don't miss this opportunity. Come and have a look. A fragment of an immortal artifact. Is there anyone who wants it? Immortal pills from the 8th era ruins. Come and have a look. The sooner you buy them, the sooner you can ascend to immortality. All sorts of exaggerated shouts could be heard. Some were selling immortal weapons, some were selling immortal pills, and some were even selling immortal Ascension scrolls. Chu Kuangren glanced at them and was disappointed to find that they were all third-rate goods that were useless to him. This trade market is a little too lame. Brother Chu, Up ahead is the largest trading platform of the trade market, the 3,000 firms. The real good stuff is over there. I hope you don't disappoint me. Chu Kuangren murmured. There was nothing that couldn't be traded in the 3,000 shops and 3,000 worlds. The origins of the 3,000 firm were mysterious. They were the most mysterious organization in the Purple Gold Galaxy. It was said that they could be found in other galaxies as well. Chu Kuangren knew that he had made the right decision the moment he arrived at this trading firm. There weren't many things here, but everything was of high quality. Oh, isn't this Miss Tang? You're here today. When an old man saw Tang Haitang, he immediately came up to her. Although Tang Haitang's cultivation was not high, she was the precious daughter of the Mystic Moon sect master. This was something that everyone in the Mystic Moon ancient city did not know. Even a Tao Lord would have to be courteous to her. Yes. Tang Haitang nodded. Then she turned to Chu Kuang and said, Brother Chu, this is the person in charge of the Mystic Moon City's 3,000 firm. If there's anything you'd like to buy or trade, you can tell him. I understand. Chu Kuangren nodded. Beside him, Manager Li glanced at Chu Kuangren with a strange look in his eyes. Oh, it's Brother Chu. My apologies for not recognizing you. Oh, you know me? Brother Chu, you must be joking. Who doesn't know you in the Purple Gold Galaxy now? You single-handedly defeated the combined forces of all the immortal seeds in the Purple Blood Planet, Brother Chu. Manager Li smiled. Chu Kuangren smiled and said, I have a few items here that I would like to trade with your trading firm. Please take a look, Manager Li. As he spoke, Chu Kuangren took out a few Taoist weapons that he had obtained on the Purple Blood Planet. These were not very useful to him. However, Manager Li's eyes lit up when he saw them. Taoist weapons. And there's even a top-notch Taoist weapon. This is good stuff. He studied them carefully. Brother Chu, do you really want to trade these items with us? Yes. What would you like to trade for, Brother Chu? I'll trade them for spiritual marrows. Chu Kuangren said. He did not lack anything at the moment, so he could just trade them for spiritual marrows. As pure spiritual chi crystals, spiritual marrows were the hard currency of the universe. If you trade them for spiritual marrows, the 3,000 firm can offer up to 2 billion kilograms at most. However, I suggest Brother Chu to auction these Taoist weapons off. They will fetch a higher price than us. Manager Li suggested. Chu Kuangren had a playful look in his eyes when he heard that. There was no such thing as a business where the buyer was considerate of the seller. Manager Li could have used 2 billion kilograms of spiritual marrows to buy the Taoist weapons, and Chu Kuangren would not have rejected him. He could then sell them off at the auction and earn a few hundred million. However, he did not. Instead, he reminded Chu Kuangren to put them up for auction. He was trying to befriend Chu Kuangren. After all, a top-notch immortal seed had great potential. Compared to a few 100 million kilograms of spiritual marrows, befriending Chu Kuangren would bring him more benefits in the future. Chu Kuangren knew this too, so he accepted the favor. Manager Li can arrange the trade for these Taoist weapons. All right, I'll put them up for auction then. Beside him, Tang Haitang's expression changed. There's an auction soon? Yes, it's today. Looks like we've come at the right time. I'm sure the 3,000 firm won't mind adding the two of us. Tang Haitang smiled. Miss Tang, you're flattering me. I've sent an invitation to the City Hall a few days ago, but I heard that the Mystic Moon City Hall has been busy lately and did not have the time to come. I didn't expect you to come instead, Miss Tang. Manager Li smiled. Yes, my father has been quite busy lately. Tang Haitang did not say much. Recently, the Mystic Moon Taoist had been following Chu Kuangren's instructions and was busy collecting materials to help her awaken her immortal physique. However, this was a secret that not many people knew about. The auction was held in the 3,000 firm's inner hall. There were not many people there, but each of them represented a reputable force in the Mystic Moon ancient city, such as the top-notch cultivation families or orthodoxies. When they saw Tang Haitang enter, everyone's eyes lit up. They then stood up and bowed to her one by one. They were exceptionally enthusiastic towards her. No matter how arrogant these representatives were, they knew that the mystic Moon Ancient City's Taoist master was the last person they could offend. As his precious daughter, Tang Haitang was very famous. "Haitang, you're here too." A young man happily walked up to Tang Haitang and greeted her intimately. Upon hearing that, Tang Haitang quickly glanced at Chu Kuangren as if she was afraid that he would misunderstand. When she saw that his expression was normal, she could not help but let out a sigh of relief. However, she was also a little disappointed. "There's nothing strange. Does he not have feelings for me? Brother Wang, you can call me Miss Tang or Brother Tang. Calling me Haitang is too intimate." Brother Wang did not feel awkward when he heard that. However, when he looked at Chu Kuangren, his eyes were instantly filled with wariness. It was as if he was looking at a rival in love. This is Brother Chu, a friend of mine," Tang Haitang said. When the crowd heard that, they could not help but take a few more glances at him. They were instantly attracted by his otherworldly temperament and appearance. "This person is really extraordinary. Not bad. I wonder which sky pride he is?" Obviously, these representatives could not remember who Chu Kuangren was. Their intelligence was much weaker than the 3,000 firms. Chapter 856. Haitang's Friend. Brother Wang glanced at Chu Kuangren, and the hostility in his eyes intensified. Then he said, "I'm Wang Hang, the Wang family's crown prince. Greetings, Brother Chu. I look forward to your guidance in the future." "You're welcome. Brother Chu, the auction is about to begin. Let's find a place to sit first," Tang Haitang said. Then she found 2 seats that leaned against each other. The 2 of them sat together, talking and laughing. Behind them, a venomous gaze landed on the 2 of them. It was the Wang family's Wang Hang. When the surrounding people saw this, they couldn't help feeling playful. "Interesting, the daughter of the city lord seems to be very concerned about this young man. Could it be that she has taken a fancy to him? That's very possible. With that temperament and appearance, if I were a woman, I would probably be very moved too." Indeed, this is going to be fun. The Wang clan's heir has always been chasing after the city lord's daughter, but now someone else has beaten him to it. I'm afraid he won't give up so easily. Can this person stop the Wang clan's revenge? In this mystic moon city, aside from the city lord's mansion, the Wang family is the strongest faction. The Wang family has always wanted to form an alliance with the city lord's mansion, so how could they allow others to touch the city lord's daughter? Everyone's thoughts converged and conversed in secret. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren had also noticed the resentful stares coming from behind him. But he didn't care. He could talk to whoever he wanted and get close to whoever he wanted. It was all based on his own preferences. When had he ever cared about other people's attitudes? Furthermore, he still wanted to analyze Tang Haitang's immortal physique, which would be very beneficial to his cultivation. "Just you wait." Wang Hang stared at Chu Kuangren's back and gritted his teeth. The auction began. The auctioneer was elderly, whom Chu Kuangren had met before. The first item was a piece of Dao source that weighed over 100 kilograms. The starting price was 5 million kilograms of supreme-grade spirit marrow, and it was won by a sect leader of a Dao orthodoxy. Then, a few more items were auctioned off. Chu Kuangren had his eyes on a piece of purple gold of heaven and earth. That piece of purple gold was a rare crafting material, so he wanted to buy it and practice on it when he had the time. 10 million kilograms of spiritual marrow. Chu Kuangren bid. 15 million jin of spiritual marrow. A voice rang out. It was Wang Hang, the heir of the Wang family. 31 million. 40 million. The heir of the Wang clan, Wang Hang, continued to bid. "Oh, it seems like he's going against me." Chu Kuangren smiled playfully. He did not continue to bid. That piece of purple gold was at most 30 million kilograms of spiritual marrow. "What's wrong?" "Brother Chu, if you're not going to continue bidding, then I'll gladly accept this purple gold." Wang Hang smiled provocatively at Chu Kuangren. "Wang Hang, don't go too far." Tang Haitang looked at Wang Hang coldly. Being stared at like this, Wang Hang felt even more upset. The woman he fancied actually targeted him for another man. This made him angrier than anything else. At the auction, whoever has the most soul marrow will get the treasures. What's the matter, Brother Chu? Are you planning to use the city hall's power to suppress me? Wang Hang looked at Chu Kuangren and sneered. The more Tang Haitang defended Chu Kuangren, the more he wanted to go against her. Brother Chu, if you want that purple gold but you don't have enough spirit essence, I can help you bid for it first, Tang Haitang said. Chu Kuangren shook his head. No need. In the end, the purple gold fell into Wang Hang's hands. He fiddled with the purple gold and looked at Chu Kuangren with a smug expression. Chu Kuangren ignored him. He's just a clown. After that, a few more items were auctioned. Until a black armor was brought up to the stage. The armor was pitch black and carved with ferocious beasts. Mysterious Taoist patterns flowed on it, and it emanated an extraordinary aura. The crowd could not help but breathe heavily when they saw it. This is a Taoist weapon. Not only is it a Taoist weapon, but it's also a top-notch defensive Taoist weapon. It's one of the rarest treasures below the heavenly Taoist weapons. This Taoist weapon is worth at least 1.8 billion spiritual marrow. The crowd stared at the armor with fiery eyes. Even the top cultivation forces in the Mystic Moon ancient city did not have many Taoist lords. If they could get their hands on this Taoist weapon, it would definitely be of great benefit to their forces. This Taoist weapon is mine for the Wang family, Wang Hang said with fiery eyes. Soon, the auction began. 1.81 billion. 1.82 billion. 1.9 billion. 1.95 billion. 2 billion. Not long after, the price of the armor exceeded 2 billion. 2 billion. At that moment Wang Hang spoke. He stood up, looked around, and said, "This Taoist weapon is mine for the Wang family. I hope everyone here can give us some face." He was being polite. However, everyone knew that it was a threat. If they continued to bid, they would be going against the Wang family. In the entire Mystic Moon ancient city, other than the city lord's residence, how many forces would dare to go against the Wang family? At that moment, the representatives of the forces who wanted to continue bidding could not help but stop. If they continued bidding, they might not be able to compete with the Wang family in terms of financial resources, and they would have to risk offending them. It was not worth it to do so. Seeing that, Wang Hang smiled. "Thank you, everyone." 3 billion. At that moment, Chu Kuangren suddenly spoke. Wang Hang frowned. 4 billion. 5 billion. Brother Chu, you couldn't even compete with me for the ores that were worth tens of millions just now, and now you dare to compete with me for this Taoist weapon? Do you even have that much spiritual marrow? Wang Hang said coldly. I don't think the ores are worth it, so I stopped bidding. But this Taoist weapon, I think it's worth 2 billion. Besides, I don't have any spiritual marrow, but the city lord's residence doesn't have any either, right? Chu Kuangren smiled. Tang Haitang was taken aback. Then she calmly said, "That's right. I'll pay for everything fellow Taoist Chu bids for. My city lord's mansion isn't that rich, but I can still afford a great Tao tool." The crowd could not help but gasp in surprise. They did not expect Tang Haitang to pay so much for him. Tang Haitang knew that Chu Kuangren was the guest of honor that the Mystic Moon Taoist master brought back, and he was also the one who would help her awaken her immortal physique. Spending a few billion for him was a small matter. Besides, she was quite willing to do it. TSK, this guy is a playboy who relies on women. I didn't expect him to be someone like that. Why would the city lord's daughter like someone like him? But I have to say, I'm jealous. Even if he was living off a woman, not everyone could live off the city lord's daughter. It was also a kind of ability. The Wang family's crown prince did not move her at all, but now, the city lord's daughter was willing to do it for Chu Kuangren. Based on this, Chu Kuangren had 6 billion for a pretty boy. 7 billion. 3 billion. 1 billion. 2 billion. Wang Hang's eyes were a little red. 2 billion spiritual essence was the most he could mobilize at this moment. Seeing that it was about time, Chu Kuangren stopped bidding. After saying so much, this Taoist weapon still belongs to me. A pretty boy like you knows the city lord's residence won't spend that much spiritual marrow on you, so you're afraid to bid? Wang Hang sneered. He felt that he had won again. Is there no one else? Then I hereby announce that this Taoist weapon belongs to the Wang family. Old Man Li made the final decision. At that moment, Tang Haitang took a closer look at the armor and suddenly gasped. Brother Chu, didn't you entrust this armor to the 3,000 firm just now? This seems like it. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard that. Especially Wang Hang. The treasure that he had spent 2 billion spiritual marrow to buy was something that Chu Kuangren did not want anymore. He had been played by Chu Kuangren. You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.